Any changes to the agenda or additions, Valerie?
Only that I emailed out late this afternoon draft minutes from, I believe it was October 21.
Okay, that's all. Okay. Thank you. Overview of Zoom meeting operations, procedure, rules for participation, mute your mic, recognized by the chair, et cetera. Well, public forum, something that's not on the agenda, the public would like to speak to, either by Zoom or in public here in the meeting room.
Yes, please.
Yes.
How are you?
Please identify yourself.
My name is Brendan Coyle. I had a select board meeting, the last meeting, and I tried to attend via Zoom and wasn't really heard too well or communicated through things. The mic, wasn't open, and I had someone that came in and kind of interrupted the select board from being able to discuss the topic that was at hand.
That was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I had sent a bunch of paperwork to both Valerie and AZ with the zoning department, and I don't feel like.
It's not coming, it's about the road.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like the select board, didn't choose to look at any of the documents that were given to the town. I've done everything that the town has asked with this property, getting my survey, getting my state septic, getting my permits. I need a 911 address. Someone came in and said that my right of way is not on Hazel, it's not off Sunwood, it's on Hazel Drive. I have a bunch of papers that I'd like the town to look at. First, I want them to look at my tax bill and see where my tax bill is located on the tax map. Sunwood Lane, not Hazel Drive. I have my building permits, I have my septic permit, I need an address, I can't be held up much longer with this nonsense.
Can I interrupt a minute? We had directed AZ to give you an E911 address from Sunwood Drive.
Well, no, there was someone here that said, some woman that was on the select board that said, well, if it's off of Hazel, then how can we give him a Sunwood address if it's on Hazel? So I just have all of my paperwork.
Okay. I'm gonna have to hold it for just a minute.
Yeah.
I'll let you finish. Go ahead, finish up if you want.
I'll let the town make an educated decision with this by the end of the year. If it drags on, my legal counsel will get involved.
Okay.
And it will not be with just the neighbors, it will be with the town for holding me up on this.
Okay, Valerie, had your hand up?
Yes, in fact, AZ and I have had several communications since last week. And we've also had a lot of communications from the Cobb family. And AZ has responded to the Cobb family that the dispute between you and them is between you and them. And that she also consulted with the E911 board for guidance on this particular situation. And they are in agreement with our recommendation that rather than naming the road, it becomes a driveway off of Sunwood Lane, and she has assigned an address. It hasn't been officially issued yet. I believe it's something like 205 Sunwood Lane. So that is in process. She was working on it on Friday and over the weekend and today. So you should be seeing something very soon.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to make sure that it was heard, because once you guys had the issue with China and everything, it was just difficult for me to communicate from out of state. So I just wanted to make sure that what I had was heard and looked at. That's what I was asking.
Right, and I don't think your problem is gonna go away, but our zoning officer has issued you, according to Valerie, a E911 off from Sunwood.
Yeah, that's not gonna solve everything, but it will
That is
definitely
to your neighbors.
Unfortunately, I think this is the beginning of your problems.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Ironically, just to add to that, the documents that Mr. Cobb provided at that meeting showing documentation of an easement was actually documentation of the easement you provided to us, showing it coming off of Sunwood Lane.
Yeah, so I have like two sets of
We have all of that. We have all of that.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
so I just
And
want to.
you're definitely not the only person that has the right of way up through there.
I'm well aware, and I know I spoke with Mrs. Coffin, who was on board, Johnson Lumber Company was on
They
board.
were at the meeting.
Like numerous people were on board to have this resolved, and the idea of the road name wasn't just for myself when it was presented as it being just to serve one address. I want everyone to be able to access their land fairly. I don't want it to say that it's my driveway now, you know?
Well, there is, like Peter said, there is a right of way. More
Yeah,
than one
I know
person.
that, you know, the town water supply was back there, that road has been there for a very long time, and, you know, from me being in town a little bit, I can get people to write affidavits saying that that road has been there from a long time. So,
Well,
Okay, so Valerie, go ahead.
Yeah, a couple more things that the E911 board also assigned an address to the Blanchard property. So they have that off of Sunwood Drive or Sunwood Lane. And this does not preclude in the future a future proposal to name that road something like Sweetness Lane or something else that you might come up with later. So this assigning of an address does not prevent future adjustments.
perfect, I appreciate that. This will just help me with my initial process, but like I said, I'd like the other neighbors in Johnson Lumber to be able to access their property and, you know, there's, God forbid, there's an accident somewhere back there. It's like, I was on the property today. You cannot get to my property from Sunwood right now. There's trucks blocking it, there's trailers blocking it. And this is all being documented. I have photos, videos of all of this stuff, so,
Like I said, that's probably.
you know,
you and
it
your
will get
neighbors and
taken
not the
care of in
town.
civil court, but
Right.
just
Yeah.
getting an address from the town will help me,
Mhm.
that's all I'm asking from you
Okay.
guys, so.
Yeah, you should look, I look for it in the mail if you.
All right, I appreciate your time, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for
If
coming.
if I could add one last thing, this is the
Go
last thing
ahead.
on this topic, is that up until recently, AZ's position has been part-time. And so she has been occupied with a lot of other things and has been trying to move this along diligently and be responsive to everybody's concerns. And so I think that's a lot of time has been spent trying to consult with folks to make sure that things are being done properly. And I think you'll see the end result of that very soon.
Perfect, I appreciate it. She's been more than helpful and, you know, it's not the town, I just have a bad apple that's close to me, you know, so.
Yeah. Good luck to everybody.
Yeah,
Good luck.
thank
Okay,
you.
all right, thank you for coming in. Department head roundtable, I saw Bruce on and Brett, and we have Sharon here and Taylor for the hub.
Who do you want
And
to start?
Meredith, I saw on too.
Who do you want to start with?
Oh, let's start with Brett. Haven't heard from him for a while.
I have no significant updates for the select board, but happy to answer any questions.
Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the status of the proposal for the utility truck?
You talking about the pickup truck?
Yeah, the thing that we've
Yeah.
been kind of on the sideline for a proposal.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to find the appropriate time when Chris and Sharon actually have time. I feel like money is missing from the fire department's capital fund. And I can't say that with certainty, but knowing all the treasurer problems this town has had the last couple of years, you know, I just want to make sure I'm not out, you know, $30,000-$40,000 because that's what's holding this up. You know, the
Okay.
money I thought I had in my plan is not there. And, you know, the fire department received that very significant donation from an estate settlement that I intentionally put in town's capital funds,
Mhm.
part of it towards apparatus and the other part in our equipment fund. And so again, I'm not pointing fingers. I need an answer. And again, you know, they have competing priorities down there. And to me, this isn't a top priority. So I'm just kind of trying to pick my time.
Okay, that's very helpful, and I expect that very soon we'll find out where where those funds had been inadvertently allocated, but I'm sure they're still there.
Okay, well, yeah, that is what is holding this up is I
Okay,
can't come to the board and say I would like to purchase a vehicle that will drain a fund when I thought I'd purchase a vehicle and still have, you know, $30,000-$40,000 in the fund.
understood. Thanks,
So,
Brett.
Yep, you got it.
Thanks, Brett. And from the board, thank you for, you guys always participate for the Halloween on the park. And I know a lot of kids, there was a lot of them down there and they really enjoy that.
We are
Okay.
always happy to do that. And all the thanks goes to Chris Purley, Kevin LaRose, Adrian Ludka, Nathan Buska, and Nick Gilbo.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Brett, you guys, any other questions?
No.
Okay, thanks, Brett. Bruce, you wanna go?
Sure. So I don't remember if I've mentioned, but our community resource specialist position, Amy Smith, started last week. The first couple of weeks, or first 3 or 4 weeks probably, we're going to be working on training, getting things established and making connections with all the agencies that we need to. We finally got an email for her that took a little longer than we expected, but now we get to move forward.
Awesome.
Okay, great. It was a great article in the paper, the Addison last week. Bruce, that was a nice piece on it, explaining the do's and don'ts from that position you're looking for.
Good to hear.
How's it going so far?
Great so far.
I've seen you out and about.
Okay, is that it for us, Bruce?
That's
Anybody
it.
got any questions for Bruce?
Nope.
Okay, Sharon, you all right?
As you know, last week was tax week. It's very busy last week. First week before was the elections. This week, Wednesday, Thursday, the auditors will be here. So we'll be working with them, and Darlene will be here from Nemrick to assist with documents that they will need for the audit, of which we may or may not know about. Just some of the reports, we're not sure exactly what they are, so Darlene will be here for 2 days as well, helping us with that. So we'll be doing, probably delinquent bills tomorrow for taxes, will be going out. Chris has also finished the spreadsheet for the water rates, and it has been sent to Nemrick for Chip to build and put in the system, so that when we go do the read next month, we'll be ready to go with that. So those are the big things that are going on right now.
In terms of the auditors, are we ahead than we were last year?
No.
Okay.
We've been trying, well, we
I'm
asked,
glad we're consistent.
we asked them a month ago to send us another list of what they wanted, and we haven't gotten anything, so.
You'll bring it with them tomorrow, or Thursday, Friday?
Well, we're gonna have
Thursday, Thursday?
a phone conversation with them tomorrow, and, hopefully they bring what they want on Wednesday. I think the head guy will be here as well as probably a couple other people, my understanding, but we'll know for sure tomorrow.
Okay.
After our phone call at 11, so.
Because the idea is that we're hiring a lot more people to do this work, right? I know that they were trying to
Yeah,
scale up.
they've had a lot of turnover as well, so
Okay,
we'll
Okay.
see.
yeah.
Alrighty. Taylor, I'll wait for you. Not Bruce, Meredith, you are on there. I saw you somewhere. She's there.
It's been busy. We are finally have registration complete for our BYS basketball program. So we've got 100 kids signed up for that. And we should be designing the practices for all those families. So that's pretty exciting. And, you know, holiday events are coming up. So getting the word out about those. And a lot of park projects have been completed or in the final stages. And in that sense, Aiden's really been out there at the parks, looking at all the parks and picking up a lot of trash, especially at Sycamore. And last week we got the lights back on for the memorial off the flagpole. So if you notice that, you'll see the light shines on the memorial. And then either this week or next, we'll get the lights back on the stone part of the memorial on Town Green. So that'll look really nice once those lights start, when they get back in there.
Alrighty. Any questions for the board for Meredith? Anything? Meredith, I just have one. Under Bristol, does the football, the youth football program, is that run through our rec department or it's separate?
It is separate. We do not do football.
I thought it was a parent. said they heard some inappropriate language and wanted me to address it. And I said, well, I don't think we run it. I want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Taylor? anything from the health clause?
Yeah, so I think the biggest so I'm gonna be talking to you guys later on the agenda, this week, but the hub has been really, really busy. In October, we saw around 800 visits, which is the highest I have on record by about 25%. And that was from, I think, 170 kids, I think that's correct. So we've been just slammed. It's been very well though, you know, the space has been utilized well in that you have a lot of different groups of people in different areas. Ian stopped by a couple of weeks ago and was very surprised by how busy it was inside, because outside it was quiet. And he walked in and goes, "Oh, it's a party." I said, "Yeah, we've been really busy," which has been really exciting. And we are seeing a lot of more gender diversity. And of course, I think I try to keep as much track of, right, I'm always looking at how the ratios are running, and they often stay fairly even, but I think we're starting to see a tip in visits from girls. So rather than overall, I think predominantly the visitor ratio is still the same, majority boys. So it's usually about 75% male, 20% female, and 5% non-binary. So I think that's staying fairly consistent. However, we're seeing the visitor ratio shift from the 70-25 to 60-30-10 or something. So we're starting to shift and see more gender diversity, which has been nice and different.
Good. All right. I have anybody else? Did Derek have a report for you, but Valerie, or no?
No, he texted me that he was dealing with a forest fire and would not be able to make it. He didn't specify where the forest fire was. I presume it's the Starkborough Fire Department.
Starksboro,
Behind the Starkborough Fire Department.
yeah. Well,
Behind the fire department?
up on the hill, on the
No.
east side of 116, behind the fire station.
Yikes.
That's scary.
They figure it was probably a hunter that dropped a cigarette.
Nice.
Oh, boy. Okay. All right. He didn't say anything to me, maybe the big. Okay. Consent agenda, approval of park use application for the annual Lumen event on the town green for Saturday, December 14th from 12 to 9 p.m. as per prior years. Number 2, approval of the 10-year Seth Hill Waterworks site access agreement with the Otter Creek Clean Water Service Provider and the Vermont Department of Environmental Conservation. Number 3, approve and sign the V-Trans TA 65 reimbursement request for the V-Trans grant PO 2162 for the Lincoln Road paving project. Number 4, approval and sign the V-Trans TA 65 reimbursement request for the V-Trans grant number BC 2106 for the Lincoln Road Riverbank Restoration Project.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a motion? There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any questions on any one of those 4? Hearing none, although, or Valerie, do you want to add anything or no? Nope, you're all, okay. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Staying, okay. Regular business, consider request from Dan Visco Lions Food Truck to occupy 2 parking spaces on Main Street across from the town green, Mondays, November 24th through May 19th, 2025. Okay, Valerie did send a little information on this, that we really don't have a vendor ordinance.
Right, yeah, in my report, I did kind of go off a little bit about the notion of a vendor ordinance, and it won't really help this proposal or this application or request, so we're still kind of going by without guidelines on questions like this.
So is this application changed? Because it seems, looking at Front Porch Forum, it seems like the location moved to BCC down on North Street, and he's no longer going to be on the park.
That was for tonight only.
Ah, okay.
What is
Oh.
BCC?
Meredith
Yeah,
just
The
said,
old Pine Tree
the old Pine
Gardens.
Tree Gardens.
Oh, okay.
Oh, botanical something.
Chemical.
Oh, got it. Got it.
I can't remember.
Is this, Meredith, is it just for this evening? Or is it for the
Oh.
full?
I asked Dan, and he should be rolling in there any minute. I asked Dan to hold off for this evening, and so he is at the collaborative for this evening. The request changed from being on the Park Street to West Street, which is, I don't know why I wrote Main Street. I don't know what I was thinking on that application, but he's requesting for a Monday a month to be able to park his food truck on West Street. And his food truck has a service window on the passenger side. So he would park like 2 spaces and the service window would be facing into the park.
So why does he want on West Street? Why couldn't he have left it on Park Street? What was his reasoning?
Well,
I mean, I
Park
just
Street-
have concerns because of the time, 4 to 7, it's dark, it's hard to see people.
Yeah. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
I
movement.
agree. So the Park Street was for the Halloween. I must have misunderstood as well because I thought, okay, we're over at the Park Street for the whole season, but it was just for the Halloween time. So the request really is to be on West Street a Monday a month with his food truck, and the parking situation would be 2 parking spots, and he would be parked. So the service window was facing into the town green, and would be about 4 parking spots in from the handicapped area. But
Away
because
from-
we don't have a vendor ordinance, this really is like the kind of like the start of what we should probably be considering, because Bristol is getting popular and this is a popular idea.
So it's a Monday a month. When you
Yeah.
look at the form, it looks
So
like it's
John Green
multiple
Mondays,
Mondays.
That is
I would think-
correct. So I have updated that form.
Okay,
To every other Monday, because he has not given me a solid Monday, or the original request was for today, but I canceled it for him to be at the park for today. So we could figure out moving forward what a vendor application ordinance looks like. Dan what he's got is a really great idea. It really helps the youth out. But I told him he's kind of like a
Explain
guinea
more about
pig.
that.
Yeah,
Pardon?
can you explain that?
Yeah, explain more about that.
So he bought a food truck, and he's working with the youth, older than 16, to get experience working, ordering, running a food truck. It's just great work-life experience for kids who are craving that. So it's kind of like it's like his own personal like Hannaford style center.
Okay, so I have another question. When do I'm assuming he's stopping this before the farmer's market starts.
That is correct.
That's
I let him
true.
know that if he wants to continue with the farmer's market, he would have to go through Bristol Core Farmer's Market.
Mhm. I mean, he's picked the right day because there's nothing open for
Right.
restaurants
Well,
downtown.
Exactly. And the parking's low profile on Mondays because there's nothing open in Bristol.
Cause that's a question I had, so both of our, or 3 or 4 of our restaurants are closed on Mondays. I know Covers is, I believe Snaps is.
They're all closed.
They are? Okay,
I don't
I was
think any
just,
of them are.
I was
Just
brick and
by the
mortar,
farmers
the brick and
market.
mortar pay good taxes, and I was worried
Oh,
about
yeah. No.
them saying, wait a minute.
I think if
Hot dog
I-
vendor out, or whatever vendors outside.
Mhm.
I was feeling the same way. We got people buying water, sewer, power,
Yeah.
paying taxes. And we go and let somebody compete against them that doesn't pay any of those expenses. But if there's nothing open, I am in favor of it. Should those open back up, I think we would have to revisit it and reconsider.
Yeah,
I agree.
But Meredith, where's he getting his electricity?
So that
Yes,
is currently, if you are on the park, there is no fee for electricity or water. And I've kind of chatted with Valerie about this, a possible minimum, depending on the current that you need. So there is a 220 outlet, but it is on Parkside, and that would be on not the minimum, that would be probably like a $50 minimum fee. If you're a 120, then maybe it's a $25 minimum usage fee. And then,
For event or for the season?
so that's the thing, that's what we should we should consider. You know,
Well,
they're-
what,
they're
event or
pulling-
season?
Pardon?
For the one event or for the season?
Right, so right now I have it set up for just one event because Dan is our first like vendor that would be repeating
Here's Dan
besides
right
the
here.
farmer's
He
market.
just walked in, Mary.
Oh, great. I definitely listen to Dan
No,
on
we've been
his
beating you.
requests.
Oh, good, good.
Have a seat, Dan, here. Come right up here.
Alright.
Sit right there.
Hey there.
One of the concerns that was aired earlier, just so you're up to speed with us, was competing with brick and mortar establishments, but nobody's open on Monday, so.
That's why I chose it.
So, that would be something if they were to reopen.
Yeah.
We would have to
Rethink it.
take that into consideration.
One other thing to throw out there is I'm pretty small potatoes. And I think I put it in there for every Monday, but in reality, at least until like April or May, it's gonna be once a month at the most. And then, you know, ideally throughout the spring, like a later spring and summer, then I might, you know, set up more consistently on a weekly basis.
Well, I think then you'd have to come back to the board again, that's, you know, it's not a.
Well, if
this-
it's during the time of the farmer's market, then it has to go to Bristol.
It has to go to
Right.
Bristol Court for Mondays at the farmer's market.
Right.
Yep, and I met with them already.
Okay.
And if you guys are at all interested in hearing at all about like my business model and kind of what I'm hoping to, you know, be like start up, then I'm happy to tell you a little thing or two about it.
Meredith's explained a little bit, it's sort of involving
The youth.
students.
Definitely have Dan chat about it. It's really cool. Take the minute to hear him out.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah,
A few brief minutes, so.
essentially, I want to create a business that's going to provide employment opportunities for youth and young adults who need that type of experience. Ideally, I would be like a service provider and an employer simultaneously. You know, my target audience is a pretty like diverse cohort of students, anywhere from like a high school student, just like a, you know, regular attending high school student, to a student who might graduate or exit high school with the need for one-to-one support services in the employment sector, and then anywhere in between. Ideally, the perfect scenario would be collaborating with Kayla over at the hub, and she might have a group of students or a group of you know, young folks who are, you know, attending there, who are interested in possibly learning a little thing about cooking. We hold some cooking classes to create a product, and then we sell that product the next night, and I'm employing those students or employing those that youth. You know, like I'm not beholden to just high school students or just students through the core. So I'd love to collaborate with other town entities, social service providers in Addison County around building this opportunity for youth. Essentially, I'm a special educator who does employment related training up in Chittenden County. And it's a stark reality that once students exit the high school environment, the support network after high school is pretty slim. So I want to target those folks who kind of need that continued support.
Okay. Okay, I have I don't have a real hang up on it now that I know that the restaurants, as Peter was saying, the brick and mortar paying customers. But I'm worried about, as Michelle brought up earlier, you know, from now until about 1st of March, it gets pretty dark pretty early out here on Mondays. And the pulling in and backing out, you know, and if the traffic becomes, I hope it takes off.
Yeah.
You know, but if it does, it becomes a traffic hazard. You know, we're pulling in and out, and our police are responding there for an accident or a rear end, you know, somebody backing out. You'll have to readdress it,
Yeah.
the location.
I'm also, yeah, I'm open to suggestions for location too. I was just set up, actually, I have some soup for you guys if you want some. If anybody's interested, about 6 cups. Short one, it looks like.
So that was one of my questions. Why did you want to be on West Street versus Park Street?
Visibility.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not married to one location. This is less about making money and less about making food and more about providing opportunities for folks who need that type of support.
And I know were you one of the ones that set up for Bristol Core on Monday nights?
Yeah.
And you were close to the hydrant?
Oh,
Okay. No, but, or somewhere in that area, but right there from coming around the corner, traffic right there, it's a little, I was wondering if the location for the electrical could be moved and you're down more across from the post office area. Where the traffic's, I won't say lighter, but they got a chance to see you maybe, instead of coming around the corner from North Street, boom, car pulled out from behind the food van.
yeah.
Just a thought.
I mean, anywhere on that whole stretch right there. I'm actually parked right out there now just to kind of test out like how big it would be. You know, and Meredith and I were talking about either like, would you pull in, would you back in, would you have the service window facing the green? You know, those are all things I'd love your input about.
No,
If it
the
was
service
gonna be-
window will have to face the green,
Yeah,
just for
Then you're standing
safety
up on a curb
purposes.
and actually looking you eye to eye, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be better.
Okay, yeah, I haven't looked at it too closely, but I think there's a slope.
A little bit of a slope there.
So I don't know how other food trucks have experienced that and if that's like, and then there's gonna be snowbanks. You know, I have an alternate location down at the, BCC,
Mhm.
that I could set up there too, if like a permit in town was an issue, like for continual use.
I think the slope decreases as it goes westward. I think the slope is more prominent on the east end of that stretch of sidewalk, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mallory. I think it's, the least is right about where the bandstand is.
Yeah.
In that
And
area.
it levels out more going westward, I think.
Okay,
I mean, I would say the West Street's easier because of it's not diagonal parking like it is on Park,
Right.
which is more of a pain to deal with. It. You would maybe take up an additional
More
space
space,
because of
right.
diagonal parking. I think I agree. I think maybe having it further down from the intersection, just so you have to worry less about cars turning there, especially in the evening time. So maybe somewhere where, like you said, opposite post office, which would be where the town bandstand is, it'd be very visible there. And then obviously you're not too far from the intersection if people are walking up to it from either direction, or from the playground or whatever, so.
okay,
But
And
yeah.
did you determine you do need power? Because we were just kind of talking about that.
that would be optimal.
Mhm.
Is there a fee for that?
Yeah,
That's what we were just talking
That's
about.
what we were just talking about.
Right.
So do you need 220 or you need
110.
110?
I believe it's 110.
Okay, because the 220 is on the back side of the
Regular
park.
extension cord?
Yeah, I've been plugging into my garage.
Okay.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
home, and I just,
Yeah, so if you're
Meredith
opposite
went off.
the bandstand, you can pull power from there.
Yeah,
You'd be going across the grass and across the sidewalk. You may want to put something.
so you
in,
have to put a bat over
cable,
it.
yeah, cable mat or something like that, to be
Yeah.
able to just make sure you don't have a tripping hazard,
Yeah.
but you should be able to plug in right there.
okay.
Okay,
I did see where it says, or maybe I missed it. I'm looking at Valerie's notes here. The hour, it's 4
4 to
to
7.
5 to 7.
It
I mean,
says
I probably
4
pull
it
up
says
there.
4 to 7 here, but,
I
For
think
the
that
setup.
was for just setting up.
okay.
Get there early enough to be able to set up.
Okay, so you'll be in there 4 to 7, but you're serving 5 to 7 or 5 to whatever.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Dan? Any more? Valerie, you have any more questions? Meredith, you?
I think
I
this is, if you can, I think what Dan's asking is doable. But as a department and a select board, we just need to, not tonight, but go in more depth of a vendor ordinance and fees that are attached to that. I'd say Dan was grandfathered in if there was any minimum fees requested.
Yeah, that would be something we'd look at probably next year to be able to start.
Well, that's almost away.
Yeah, Meredith, you want to throw that together for us?
Yes, I do. I already have a draft. I'm working on it.
You give us a
Well, it's
draft
only-
and
But I'm just thinking of.
we're not gonna have
She
time
did-
to do it this year.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but she did give us a number for the fee. We will, and
I did mention a minimum of $25.
For the electricity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Reasonable.
I'll get a draft together for you all.
Okay.
I have a bunch of samples that I had been collecting well before this came up.
Oh, cool.
do we want to, so you say it won't be only one Monday a month until
March.
March?
Yeah.
Maybe we ought to have that in the end.
I don't
you
think
have
so,
to.
because if
It
if
takes
things
off.
go really well and he
Wants to
decides
come
to
go
do
2 months?
Yeah.
I would rather have him have the opportunity being there's nothing else open.
Mhm.
Right.
I also think that if he wants to, if we're giving him 4 to 7, if he's set up by 4:30 and wants to serve, he can serve 4 to 7.
Yeah.
Because you know that people are gonna show up, and if he has to say, no, I can't serve you.
You gotta wait in line, you gotta
until
wait for
5,
five.
I don't,
Yeah.
if whatever time we give him to be there.
That's the time he
I
can.
think that should be the time he
Yeah.
can serve.
You don't need a motion, do you, Val?
I would recommend it. And
Okay,
with
I make a
with the parameters of the approval.
Yeah,
With the what?
parameters.
Okay.
of the approval.
Can I ask a
Sure.
clarifying question really quick? So you said I have to come back to the board at some point. Like, so,
No, I
After-
think Peter's suggestion is having it where it's not. At the
Limited.
moment, yeah, at the moment, we're not limiting it. It was down as every Monday. So I think we would just keep it as that,
Okay.
knowing that you would probably in the first startup months, you may only be doing 1, but then you wouldn't have to come back if you decided to do 2 or 3.
okay.
So.
And Monday's optimal because all the other restaurants are not open.
Right.
If it was gonna change days, then I would have to take that into
Right.
consideration and come talk to
You'd
you.
have
Yes.
to come back,
Okay,
Yeah,
because we're giving you approval for Monday.
and then can I ask one last question?
Sure.
All right, so I had talked to Meredith about like summertime
Mhm.
and other locations that I might be able to set up. So like the parking space over by the river, just below the falls, you know, that they pull
Yeah.
off. If I ever wanted to do that,
We have permitted that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of special rules there, you know, you have to provide some sort of trash receptacle, so we don't end up with garbage, and if we end up seeing your garbage further up the river, then we ask you to police that. I think that was.
yeah, we did that last time
That was
when
the
A lot
term.
of
Bobcat
them,
was
we
there.
had safety concerns, you know, just with parking
Yeah.
and people going across the road, but.
Yeah.
we didn't do
But
that.
I think same thing for that, you would come back because it would be a separate application for that location.
okay,
Mhm.
when would you suggest? Like
Come
starting
back to
that,
that.
yeah, sometime in May.
Well,
Well,
Yeah.
March,
Or March.
possibly, if you
Right.
want to
Or
start
when
in
you,
May.
yeah, when you have an idea of when you
When you
might
wanna
wanna be
be
up
up
there,
Great.
just talk to Meredith
Okay,
and sort of arrange that, right? Hayden?
That's gonna be a long court.
yeah.
I was
Well,
just
got
gonna
some-
say that, you don't have power up there.
I got some generators that I can use, but
Okay,
All right.
good.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that we approve Dan's request for Mondays, 4 to 7 on the west side of the park from December till May.
Second,
there's a motion and a second. Any more questions for Dan or Meredith or Valerie? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Go ahead.
Did you want to defer the question of fees until there's an ordinance?
yes,
I don't think I don't think if right now we're not charging, how do we turn around?
Well, we do our charge.
No, we're
Meredith said she's
not.
starting a one-time fee. She said-
No.
No,
we don't have it, because it's not part of the ordinance. See, that was a suggestion, but we don't have.
Meredith, correct me, didn't you say people who use the park, use electricity, pay a $25 fee for 110?
No, that, it's a suggestion.
Oh,
It needs to be in the draft. I have charged one group, the group that came in that had the alcohol in there. I needed to have them be charged $50 because they were using a lot of water and electricity and there was alcohol involved. That's the Addison County Housing Works.
okay. All right.
Dan just left out.
Yeah, sure, yeah, you're off the hook on that
Father
one.
name.
Next year, maybe
Till
different.
May.
That's our
Till
first.
May. Okay.
Anybody wants soup? I have a
Take-
couple of
take
minestrone
some.
for you.
Perfect.
sure,
Sure.
Just to sweeten the deal.
blackmail.
We're making it savory.
So we can all say we've tried it and it's really good.
Right, exactly.
I hope it's good.
Marketing.
Okay.
Wait a minute, I want you to eat it first.
Okay. We got other things, so,
That's great.
thank you, Dan.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Darn, I missed out by zooming in. Shoot.
Yeah.
There's oh yeah, there's some. All right, well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. If any other questions pop up, please. let me
Okay,
know.
go, yeah, just bring them to Meredith.
Good luck.
Thanks, Valerie.
Okay.
Thanks, Meredith.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Number 2, consider accepting a Bristol Hub Skate Park design proposal from the northeastern.
From Nor'easter.
Northeastern. Yeah, well. just- Yeah, come on up.
Yeah. So
I will, first, I want to say that I will abstain from this vote because I am on the rec club board as a trustee, and the trustees have got to decide on this piece of land that they're gonna be mooring, so I'm gonna hear the thing, but I'm not gonna vote.
Okay.
Okay,
So I realized that I forgot my, like, Valerie sent over the link for the presentation of
Mhm.
Nor'easter. So, and in the, proposal that I sent you guys, it, summarized, so we received, 5 proposals before the deadline, and then we did receive 1 more after the deadline. That, was someone that was very local, and they reached out and asked if they could.
Do you wanna
submit
see
one. I do, yeah, thank you. This is a reminder.
It's actually,
Oh, thank
Oh,
you,
she
that's
did
great.
it then.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
good. I have my laptop too, but I just forgot to like bring my printout things. They're usually in my laptop bag and they made it out of there. So we received 5 proposals from New Line, Grind Line, Pillar, Overhead, and Nor'easter. Then we received 1 more from a local company. However, given the timing of when they sent it to us, we weren't able to fully weight and score it the way we had the opportunity for the other 5. And then also there was some information missing from it, so we were unable to fully score it.
I don't think you can accept it if it came in late.
So the reason we really wanted to review it was that they offered to do it for free.
Oh,
And I felt like it would be fiscally irresponsible to not gain some information from that, and talk to them a little more. However, like I said, there was some information missing, so we couldn't fully consider it as a committee. And then when I talked about it to the committee, they said that they would rather, they weren't considering it either. It was something that they were more interested in talking to them about for the build, because it is a company that's very capable of building parks. And just given the other parameters of, we received 5 before the deadline, and we need to give them the consideration, all these and several other things. So, but these were the 5 we received. New Line, Grind Line, and Pillar are all internationally regarded design companies. Overhead's fairly new. Nor'easter is the most local, out of Maine. So you can see that we graded them based on those 5 criteria on a Google sheet that I sent out to a bunch of people on the board that have expressed interest in grading, just trying to pull as much information as possible. And guards, you can see the raw score out of 50 and then the weighted score. That New Line did weight highest. And then we had a committee meeting last Tuesday where we discussed it more, because it just picking a company based on the weighted grade online is still doesn't feel fully fledged. So through the discussion, we ended up deciding on Nor'easter for a couple of different reasons. Them being really local was attractive to us. All the other country, they're the only one that's based in the Northeast. The other ones are based in Washington, Arizona, Florida. So Nor'easter being based in Maine, so the owners live in Maine and Vermont, and they identified in their proposal that they are the end users. So they are going to actually be coming back to the park and going to be held accountable by the people in the community and by their peers for the quality of the park. And that was attractive to us. We also were interested in, like, we've had, the park has been community built for so long that it also is attractive to us to have something that is still, like, they're the newest company, or one of the the newest company. They started in 2023. So we're going with a company that is very qualified. They're the owners have worked with several other major world-renowned design companies, so they're very qualified, but they're still kind of scrappy, is something that we're attracted to as we're transitioning up. And the price contributed. 21,000
You think?
compared to 90,000 was attractive to us. Like it, so 90,000 is a fairly standard price for, like, so the full design, engineering, everything will be shovel ready after this process. 90,000 is fairly standard. However, 22,000 for a company that 2 people compared to 60, as some of these companies are, is one of the big discretions for the price, and they're newer. But that was attractive to us as well.
So I was gonna ask, are these the only 2 that work, or do they have more than just those 2 that are
What do you mean?
constructing? Well, when I was looking
Designers.
at it, they just mentioned the 2 of them, so doing a lot of the work
They would
themselves.
hire I think their designs, for the design, I think it'll be them, and then they'll
Right.
probably outsource for the engineering things that they need to. For the work, I think they hire in other people and they're the leads on it. There are a lot of people locally that, there are a lot of people that can build skate parks, but you need someone that can be like, this is how you do it, or, people under their name.
And this would be for the project, or this would essentially give us construction plans.
Right,
And then
yeah,
that would
right.
go out to
Just
bid
give the plans, yeah.
to,
Mhm.
for the construction.
And
Would they be on, after the construction plans, would they be on site to
Manage.
manage it?
I can't guarantee that, but it's definitely something we could have.
Yeah.
They're local enough that we could have that. And Porter also recommended, since we are going with the company, so the other three companies. The other three companies have engineers on their team, architectural engineers and things like that. Nor'easter does not, however, Porter made the recommendation that, and I think they're probably going to be outsourcing to confirm that their engineer documents are totally good, but since we're saving so much money, or we'd be saving so much money, Porter made the recommendation that we could also take the documents they give them and pay a local engineer company that we work with to review them. And just confirm.
I really can't see the sense of spending the extra money, provided they have an engineer that goes over the plans. I mean, it's, that's where these projects get into so much money. I was talking to Virgins today, and they started out building a salt shed for around 300,000. They're 800 and some odd thousand now because they had to hire an engineer. Federal money, they had to hire an engineer to review the plans. They had to hire an engineer to sit on site while they build it. And it just compounds the cost. And if we can't have, if somebody does this for a living and they've done it in the past, I can't see where we need somebody else looking over their shoulder to verify that they've.
Right. Everything in there,
Especially if it's been engineered, if it's got the engineer's stamp that I've
Yeah,
gone
Right.
through, the material they're using and the stress is all engineered.
everything in their proposal matched what was in the other proposals.
just at lower prices.
Yeah, and there's obviously very different price, but everything was there. It wasn't like there was something missing.
Well, it's not
From
like they're
their
reinventing the
proposal.
wheel.
Right.
No.
I mean, they're building these skate parks all over the place.
Yeah.
Some of the companies did offer different things, but they were extra things to the core of what we needed. And this company including offered different things that the other companies didn't offer. And some of the things that the companies offer were added $10,000 to it. And
I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to put something up that hadn't been engineered. So if they don't have an engineer
Right.
check it over, then that's
No,
something
it's-
we'll have to consider.
It should be part of their proposal.
Yeah.
Obviously, we would hold them responsible for their proposal as we would with any of the other companies.
Exactly. Okay, any more questions? Valerie, you have any questions, or Meredith, you want to have the input?
No, I did. I think Taylor's doing a great job. Really putting things together.
Okay,
Valerie, do you see
here.
anything from the town side for us to?
I have
Okay.
not reviewed any of the applications or proposals, so I can't speak to any of that. I do think it would be worthwhile. Well, I think we don't need to make a decision right now about the role of an engineer in review of the plans. If I understood correctly, Nor'easter does not have an engineer on board. But given the gap in the pricing, there's capacity, it would seem, and plus knowing what the allocation of funding was, that there is capacity if we want to at a later date decide to hire engineering services to review the plan.
Have you checked any of the references, the places that they've already built, to find out how?
I haven't.
That might be something to do, just to make sure what they did is they all like it.
So one of the things is that they haven't, for their core of building projects, they listed references, but they haven't built anything from scratch yet. They haven't overseen any projects because they're new. So they have built skate parks, but they haven't done the design, build, and the entire process. But yeah.
I would agree with Michelle, at least ask them, okay, the ones you built, and call that town or company. Skate park says, nothing didn't last, this or that, or it works out great, it's everything we wanted and more. Yeah, Jimmy, you have a question?
Where's the funding for this? Is this a grant or ARPA?
We received an allocation of $140,000 from ARPA funds last year. So that's going to that more than covers this design process, but, we're expecting the overall bill to be more than that, so we're, applying for grants and fundraising for the remainder.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, any more questions? I'd entertain a motion then. Not hearing any more.
So I'd say, I make a motion to accept the proposal from Noeaster, and checking the references. Just doing it.
And
So,
engineering, you wanna add that caveat or?
Well, let's see if they put, I can't believe that they can put a finished
Right.
product out without having an engineer. So, I mean, if they don't, then like Valerie says, we have the ability to do it, but if they do, I can't see spending the money twice.
No, but I just, do you want to have that in the motion? I'm just asking. That,
I don't think so.
No, I think it was part of their proposal.
it was part of
Maybe
their
a question to
proposal,
ask them.
it was
Yeah.
part of their proposal that they don't have an engineer, or part of their proposal they do?
No, I thought it was in their proposal. Am I?
I didn't see anything about,
I don't
Okay.
have my printed out proposal.
no, I didn't see anything in there about engineering.
Okay, so I would,
They said construction documents, we get delivered construction documents, which
Okay.
would assume engineered
I know.
documents, I can't
I would
guarantee.
confirm that with them.
Okay,
I would just confirm it with them, saying, one of the concerns the select board had is
Yeah.
the engineering and
Mhm.
approval by an engineer. Just ask them what their process is.
yeah, so I would hold off on that and maybe just approve it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
With the
I
answer.
think that
makes
That would
sense.
make me feel
and
better.
that'll give you a chance to check references as well.
Yes,
okay,
Okay. Okay, sorry about that, Taylor.
okay.
Well, we can't,
yeah, we want to make sure.
Yeah.
Just wanna make sure.
Okay.
Because,
Certainly don't
You know,
want
an engineer may say,
No,
well,
I don't, and
I
I
didn't draw it all
appreciate-
out, just look them all over, you may not
It's-
understand it.
You know, this is a new process for myself.
Yeah.
I'm excited to move forward and I want to tell the other companies.
Right.
So they
I've
stop
gotten
calling
some
you?
emails.
Yeah,
But this is a new process that I'm discovering how to do all these steps, so.
You're
all the
I
nav-
mean,
references
and
should
it,
have done
and
it,
it's,
so.
and
You're
it's,
navigating
and
Yeah,
it's $70,000
difference,
difference, so.
and that
Yeah.
may be the $70,000.
right,
yeah, I mean, it's not all of it, definitely the allocations, that's, with the proposals, because all of the proposals break down. The other ones, well, some of them break down by cost, like
Right.
literally, this is the person that'll be allocated, this is their cost per hour, and this is
Mhm.
why. So they break it down significantly, so I think it's more than that. I mean, a huge thing is that I think it'd be 2 guys and maybe a couple other vendors that they would be
right.
contracting in, as opposed to 30 to 60 people having their hands on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the cost just kind of goes down when you're just doing 2 salaries.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay, cool, so
Alright.
check references, call engineer, come back in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, or make
See
sure,
what
Yeah.
if they're engineered plans that they give us, or if they are gonna need to be engineered after we get them.
Yeah, okay,
and I think you could tentatively say that the select board that has
Tentatively.
approved.
Pending the outcome of
Yeah,
your,
accepted their application for the
right,
project.
and so these are the questions I need answered, because it's not a deal breaker if they don't have engineer, then we would just need to have it approved, looked at ours, but the references, if the people are saying they are terrible and we would never hire them again, which I doubt they
Right.
would list that person, but maybe.
Yeah. I mean, their scope of work has construction documents, specifications and plans ready to build.
Yeah.
And so
And-
my assumption would be engineering, but we obviously want to check that.
and when you call the people, whether they're happy or not, the easiest question to ask to get a straight answer is, would you hire them to do another project?
Yeah,
Right,
And then that's not, if they say no, probably not, then you know that there's something they're dissatisfied about, but they didn't tell you that it was, they didn't come out and say
Yeah.
they didn't do a good job,
Yeah, yeah.
so they don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, you're more apt to, if I check your references with Joel, I'm gonna say, would you hire her back?
yeah.
And if he says no, then I know.
There's
that
something, yeah, right,
there's
you want
something-
someone that
yeah.
they're like in a heartbeat,
Yeah.
always, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay,
can do that.
that's good.
Thank you.
I-
Gary.
Yep.
So I was at the meeting, I looked at all the proposals and I attended the meeting last week. Taylor did a fantastic job. It was a very well attended meeting, very good questions asked from everybody. And yeah, Taylor did a great job sort of describing all the different companies and went through each one with pros and cons. It was great.
We had 16 people who have contributed to make this decision
Yeah,
through the voting and through the in-person meeting.
and everyone's super excited to be able to move ahead on this project.
Yeah, and start the next steps. And then that
Yeah.
gives us the ability to then start fundraising more aggressively too.
Right.
Because we need plans and budgets for grants, so.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks, Dan.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, review, update, approval of police union ground rules for negotiation. You saw Valerie's thing that about the health benefits. If we can change, can they change? And Valerie, I'll let you explain your item V.3 there.
There's not much to explain. We have to approve the ground rules for the negotiations. I know that.
Thanks, Taylor.
Thanks, Dan.
And then we have to come up with, because Val, you want to expand on the MVP Blue Cross Blue Shield or?
Well, you'll be hearing more about that. Right now, folks are studying the differences between the 2025 Blue Cross Blue Shield and the MVP health insurance plan details, and all indications are that the MVP is going to be more beneficial to the town in terms of cost and to the employees themselves in terms of benefits and coverage. The issue is, and the decisions as usual need to be made in December because the plans take effect January 1. The police union contract specifies Blue Cross Blue Shield. And so in order to change that, we need to enter into the negotiation process, which the union representative has already reached out to us to ask us to begin that process because the entire contract is really up for renewal anyway. So, but we did talk about this one detail, and the union representative feels that it is okay to open negotiations and to decide this one item and come to an agreement on this one item prior to agreeing to the entire contract. And so the ground rules are a protocol that they require to begin that negotiation process. And these were based on the previous one. And so some of the town contact information will need to be updated. And Michelle, weren't you involved in the previous one?
I was.
And she said she'd love to do it
She said she
again.
wants to do it again.
I said it's somebody else's turn.
And Ted Lyles had done it before that.
Yes.
How close are we to deciding what direction we might go, or the town might go for a change of health plan?
It'll probably be on the December 16th select board agenda. Because the select board needs to approve it.
Until we find out whether we can or not, because if the union does not agree to it.
Well, the
Well,
unions,
outside of this, just in terms of what the town is doing outside of the police department. I know Chris was looking at it.
So we can't have two different plans.
No, I know, but I mean, is there do you know if there's a direction that you think we might go in?
oh, they're all
Well,
saying
MVP is
MVP.
better,
Okay,
so.
It's a matter for the union is the coverage. You know,
Right.
are they gonna get this comparable coverage? And if
Right,
the
and
coverage is
actually-
comparable, then they'll probably be
Yeah.
fine with it.
It is comparable and,
Right.
it's a little bit cheaper for the town,
Mhm.
okay,
Which means it's
so-
probably
And
also.
employees.
yeah, it's also cheaper for the employee too, especially if you have a family plan.
okay.
Did you have something you want to say, Val?
Yeah, but
Just that a date of November 27th was suggested to begin the negotiation process. Which is a Wednesday.
Did you suggest that date?
No.
I did not.
So my name is on the negotiation, but I did not agree to be the representative for the select board.
What? Maybe we'll force you.
Well, more than likely, my name will be on there as interim town administrator. So I would like
I
another
think
select
that's a
board
good
member.
idea, but yeah.
I just.
Kate, one of you two,
Sure.
unless we could throw Jess under the bus,
No.
she's not
I
here.
think she said she wasn't available for that.
Or if Michelle would be willing to do it again because she has experience
Yeah.
in doing it.
Got a shaker head, yeah?
You know, the negotiated part is pain, it's the time, because each meeting is at least 2 hours. And I usually wind up having to take off work. So that's the biggest problem,
Does it need to be 2 hours?
the minimum, that's what the agreement, that's what if you look at the,
Okay.
Is that the first thing we can change in the new union contract?
no, that's the ground, that's the
Can we make the
ground
meeting
rules.
an hour? Yeah.
That's the ground rules.
Each session will approximately 2 hours in duration unless it's mutually agreed to extend the meeting. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, not cut it short.
Yeah. Did you have something else to say, Sharon?
Well, I just wanted to suggest, of course, when the negotiations were done, they put in the exact plan we had then, which doesn't exist anymore. So when we renegotiate, it's one thing just to put in what plan we have, just like Blue Cross Blue Shield, but don't put the name of the plan.
Right.
Because it doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
And it's
Be a little bit broader. with
broader.
that.
Can we
Because-
just say health insurance?
I don't know why.
Can we
I don't know
not-
why
can we
would
not
name
just
it.
say-
Yeah.
Do we have to put the name of what?
Right, because that gives us the
Right.
ability to for easier negotiations the next
Well,
time.
and I know we have to fix the retirement thing,
Yeah.
because you can't do Plan C if I remember right.
We
Right?
can't- no,
Is that
we
right,
can't
Doc?
move-
We might
I'm
as well
gonna ask
bundle
a
that into the
question.
November
Hold on,
27th.
hold on. What, Valerie?
We might as well
Sharon's talking
bundle
about-
that detail into the November 27th meeting too.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
What
they
was
can't
that?
have, and we're gonna ask Beamers, but we've been told it can't split, even though the D would be better for the police officers. But that's why we're on C, because of the police officers, because those are the only 2 plans for
Huh.
Beamers.
yeah.
But Beamers has told us we all have to be on the same plan.
You can't have some on D and some on C.
I mean-
Okay, yeah.
I mean, if you read Valerie's B3 here, I will just read the contract currently locks the PD into the same Blue Cross Blue Shield provider to other municipal employees. If it just said the contract currently locks the PD into the same health insurance policy provided to other municipal employees. So
Well, yeah, we
Yeah.
just have to be,
don't say Blue
Cognizant.
Cross, don't say
Don't-
MVP.
Right.
It becomes MVP. Don't say MVP, just the health insurance provided to the town.
Well, okay, so. Talking about the meeting length, do we have an hour? Do we have an option to make it shorter? Does it have to be 2 hours?
are you just trying to make me feel better, so I'll do
What
it?
time do the meetings
I
start?
absolutely
What time
am.
do the meetings start?
They go through all the day. I mean, and there are some meetings start at 11, some start at 10. I mean, they're not at the end of the day.
I mean, let's
You're asking volunteers to take time off from work to do stuff that they won't do after
After
hours.
hours,
Because
right.
they,
Right.
I find we have the same problem in the fire service
Mhm.
with all the paid people. The meetings all have to be when they're paid. They do not
Right.
come to
No
the
night
meetings nights and
Or
weekends.
Saturday.
Now, what, do you know if we have wiggle room in terms of when the meetings can be and how long they can be?
I think it all needs to be mutually agreed. The length had not been discussed before, but the timeline, the time, the date, the time of the day, I suppose needs to be mutually agreeable. And
Okay.
and especially now that the virtual platform is more available
Yeah.
than it was in the prior time. And the meeting for the 27th is proposed to be virtual because that's the only time the union rep is available.
The last time we negotiated, it was all done Zoom. We did not have any in-person meetings.
Oh, okay.
Because it was during COVID, if I remember right.
Is there a time, if you could be persuaded,
It's not gonna matter.
if you could be
Like
persuaded,
say Baker's
I
leaving,
know,
we're
he's just
throwing him under the
leaving right
bus.
if you could be persuaded to do it, is one time better than the other that we can suggest?
It's not gonna matter because they're gonna do it when he's available.
The union,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not the
Did
office.
Jessica definitely say she's not available?
I don't think she,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think, I remember I was saying that I wasn't available.
I hate to say it, I could- No, oh, no.
no, they're all during the day. They aren't
I
at
couldn't
night.
see it.
It's all during the day.
I can't give you an answer tonight, but we have a little clause at work that for volunteering things, I might be able to get this on there, but
Yeah,
I'd have
but
to
it's
check
not
on
just, it's like every other week. It's not once a month. I do
And this could
remember
go
how
on
much
for
time,
6
Val,
months?
we sat last time, because you and I did it with Bruce. Weren't we like twice a month?
Bruce might have a better memory than I do,
Two,
because,
2 or 3 hours, 2 or 3 hours for
yeah,
each meeting.
Can't do that long.
yeah,
And
my,
some meetings were shorter than that, and some we've had to cancel at last minute.
Bruce, do you remember if you're still there?
Well, because that was like the first contract, I think it took a lot more time. Now that you have one in place, these shouldn't take as
Actually,
long, but
that was
Who
the
That was
second.
the second contract.
Yeah,
that was
was
the
the
second
third.
one? Wow,
Yeah, that was the second time.
I guess my memory isn't any better than,
Yeah, I have COVID fog. Can't remember.
So
Bruce-
Bruce,
It's a big
Bruce, be
foggy
honest,
mist in there.
would you be okay if I did it again? Or would it be better to have somebody with a different perspective?
oh, I'm fine with you doing it again.
Huzzah!
Figure you make the motion, Michelle. I think
You guys are gonna pay for this.
But you bring up a point, though. That is like, you know, we stood up in March and said that this board don't, and I said this board don't get paid enough. And, you know, we're talking about raising the pay. That should be as a.
It's a meeting,
It's a
select
meeting,
board
it's a
meeting.
select board meeting, only 1 in
Yeah,
10.
did you get paid last time?
No,
Oh, no.
and I think
All right,
that
well,
should happen.
Let's get paid this time. I mean, let's
I
get. you
really
paid this
do.
time.
And I'm gonna sit that and people watch it on TV next week and call me, I don't care. 989-8311, I'll take the complaint. I really don't care.
That's really an
All the
excellent
complaints,
suggestion.
Including the dog complaint.
No, I won't take
Okay,
those.
well, Ian's gonna be involved anyway, because
Correct.
after Val's in.
Right.
I know.
He's gotta
If it-
suck
if
it
it
up
do- If it
too.
does take that long, which is why.
It will,
which
it will
is-
take,
Yeah.
it took us 6 months,
Yeah.
probably, right, Val? But I think it took us about 6
Yeah.
months.
It was quite a while, yeah.
Well,
I
I
think
know
the-
I can't do it. I can get a doctor's note.
See, you can use that.
Bruce, this doesn't bode well, does it?
Alright. So,
Okay, I
I
will do it.
We need to get younger select board members.
I totally support the police. I do not care to negotiate with the union.
Well, you don't have a choice,
Well,
so.
I think the thing though, Michelle, is, and Valerie, if we can get this, just get the health insurance provider word in there and not Blue Cross Blue Shield, because it may be
Yeah.
MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would
Get that immediately.
And I would say that the select board member that does it is compensated. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount, so, but.
So they want to do it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, seriously? Did he give you a
that's
time
next
now?
week.
Yeah,
It's next
next
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
For some reason, 1 o'clock sticks in my mind, but I'm not sure why. And one reason, because we want to do this early and have a decision made early in December, that's the only day Chris is available to join, to talk about the health plans.
Yeah.
Okey-dokey.
Thank
We
you.
don't need a motion, anything, right, Valerie?
I
Point
would,
Michelle?
I
need a
would
motion on
recommend
the
a
ground
motion
rules.
to clarify the municipal representation.
Okay. Ian, you wanna do that, or Valerie, or Peter, make a motion for Michelle?
I mean,
Approve the ground rules and appoint me as the
So
town
moved.
rep.
are there any, I second that.
Okay, there's a motion. a second
Yeah,
question.
let me do that quick.
I know.
Okay, go ahead.
The only reason I talked about it, because I knew that I was gonna be involved. Is there anything you wanna, any questions or any concerns we have with the ground rules?
They were
Unless
all-
you
I
want to
haven't, honestly. I
do
haven't
the
read
flexibility.
They're in,
Okay.
I don't think there's,
I mean,
the only thing, like I said, is if we just took that Blue Cross Blue Shield and put the town's health insurance provider.
Okay, so we'll make a note of that. And then, yeah, and then just change the, obviously it would be Michelle on there, but then it would be me. We update those.
Yeah, I would say Val or Ian.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I might, if I'm available, I'll join next week as well
Okay.
in sort of
Yeah.
preparation. And unless for some reason it can all be done before that leaves. But,
Actually,
that-
maybe the language of the agreement can say just town administrator or interim town or representative or something like
Okay.
that, without naming a name.
Just
Administrator
anybody who wants
or
to,
designee.
Administrator or designee, yeah, Peter, that's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
And it's just gotta be done by July 1st, Bruce, is that when the new contract takes over?
Yeah.
about?
I think it's gotta be June 1st,
Or
July
June-
1st.
July 1st.
can we set it where it's done by February 1st? I mean, so,
It depends on the.
I
how
mean,
the
isn't this
negotiations go.
part of the negotiations that you're negotiating when this can be done by?
No, they gotta, well, we have to see what their changes are.
Yeah,
Because that'll be the first thing. We'll get the contract with all their red lines and
Yeah.
inserts.
Actually, with the first and I think the second reviews of the contract, it wasn't approved until well after the contract actually took effect, so it was retroactively effective.
Retroactive.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Okay.
begins June, it's from June to something.
Okay,
Alrighty, there's a motion on the floor in a second to have the ground rules. One of them is the health thing, and Michelle will represent the board along with the town administrator or designee. All those in favor, hearing no more discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oppose,
No.
abstain, okay, you abstain, Michelle?
And I will make those adjustments in the ground rule document, and I presume I'm authorized to sign it.
Absolutely.
Right, I heard that in the motion. Yes, I did hear that in the motion. Okay, number 4, water commissioners consider approval of amendment to the previous approved engineering services agreement with BTM Engineering PLC for the Bristol East Waterline Replacement Project. Steve Palmer, I believe Steve is on. Or is
Steve's on.
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Steve.
Hopefully my report gave a sufficient overview to explain what the changes are and why, but it's really fees and analysis that was required by the state for the Bristol East work.
Steve, can I ask questions? So, I mean, you don't have to go through the whole thing because,
Absolutely. Please do.
okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bristol East is not Rocky Dale area. Bristol East
Correct.
is Garfield and some of those streets we haven't done yet, right?
Absolutely correct. It's
Okay. That's all
everything,
I-
it's everything east of North Street with the exception of Rockydale and one feed line from the water tower that goes cross country to East Street. I can probably
Okay.
pull that map up and show you, but anyway, go ahead.
Okay,
Go
so
ahead, Michelle.
tell me, what does environmental entail?
So one of the many requirements that the state has, if you want to use DWSRF funding, is to do a linear environmental report. In other words, if you want to use state or federal money, there's a whole bunch of requirements. One of them is a linear environmental report. So they go ahead and do a phase 1 assessment. They evaluate where anything related to potential environmental contamination might have been, right? Old gas stations, dry cleaners, repair shops, all those kinds of things. We submit a draft report to the state. They review the report. They approve the report. Then we go out in the field and we do sampling based on those locations. Okay. So in other words, we're trying to show that contamination doesn't exist in the areas that we're going to reasonably exist within the areas that we're going to place a new water line. Okay. So you don't run into trouble in the middle of the project and find out, oh my God, we got all this green goo we got to go deal with. So that's interestingly, we had assumed that we were going to do both east and west environmental linear assessments within the Bristol West project. The state came and we had that cost in the Bristol West project. The state came back to us and said, even though you know the streets that you want to do that on, that's not good enough for us. We want to see the exact location of the proposed water line before we approve the work plan. So I threw my hands up at that point and I said, okay, great. We'll just shift the cost from Bristol West to Bristol East. So it's not an added cost to you folks. We're just shifting it from one project to another.
Okay, right. Then the hydraulic modeling, this is part of, and this may just be a timing thing, but if it's part of the Rockydale piece, why is it in the Bristol East and not going to be in the Rockydale phase?
So that's a great question. There are a couple of reasons I think that it's to your advantage to do this early. There's some things within Bristol East that could affect the design of Bristol East. In other words, right now, Bristol East goes from essentially, as it comes to North Street, it runs down east. We're going to replace everything from the North Street intersection all the way down to the Lord's Prayer Rock. Okay.
Right. Yep.
Halfway down almost in front of Alan Heisinger's house, it switches from 12-inch water line to 8-inch water line. Okay. And that was based on the hydraulic model that Green Mountain Engineering completed. Obviously they're not. One of the items that we want to look at as a potential alternative for you folks is if we extend all the way to Rockydale. Thank you. You can, yeah, let me put my glasses on here. If we, where are we at? You
Hold
go,
on. Yeah, I'm getting there.
thank you. That's great. So that red segment that you can see along E Street.
Yeah.
So it goes all the way from north, and by the way, the Lord's Prayer Rock is right about where his cursor is right now. Halfway down, we switch from 12-inch water line to 8-inch water line. One of the alternatives that we want to look at for Rockydale is if we instead of coming, you see the green line that comes from the water tower down all the way down the mountain?
Yeah.
It's going to be a super expensive. I can't even
Mhm.
imagine what it's going to cost us to try to do that. We're going to look at ending. We're going to look at potentially extending from the Lord's Prayer Rock exactly all the way along East Street, which I think would be a much more cost-effective alternative as one of several alternatives that we're going to look at. The issue becomes, do we really want to switch back to an 8-inch water line on the last piece of Bristol East? We need to look at whether or not we can still gain the fire flows that are required all the way down at Rockydale if we did that, right?
Well, if you're replacing that water line, why can't you start it back where the 8-inch and where it changes?
Because you need the flows for the hydrants if we end up going all the way down.
Well, I know, but right now, I thought he said it was 8-inch and then it went down.
Other way around, 12-inch and it goes to 8-inch.
Oh, 12 down to 8. So why can't we just continue 12? Get rid of the 8 and continue the 12 all the way down.
Well, that's what he's saying. Do you want to stop
Okay.
one length short with
Okay.
the, but
Correct.
Steve, I don't know if you're aware or not, but the main does not go down over the hill currently.
You're talking about,
On East Street. Those houses down there are all fed with copper from up on top of the hill.
are you
So it
talking
doesn't,
about
it's
just shy of the Lord's Prayer
go
Rock?
back.
Just
Ian,
shy of the
back
Lord's
up.
Prayer Rock, correct?
Where Gardner Lane is.
Yeah, I am aware of that, right. I'm using the Lord's Prayer Rock just as an easy reference, but you're right, it stops at least a few hundred feet before that, if not more.
So
So
right
you're saying
now,
it stops
how
back
does
here?
Rockydale get fed?
No, it stops up top of the hill. I would
Up
say
higher.
right about there,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, okay, stops there, got it.
Just for Drake Smith Road is.
Right by Jessica's house.
Right by Jessica's house.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't have the maps in front of me, but I think you're correct. I'm not arguing with you at all. But
Well, the only reason I know is because when I put the culvert in front of Gardner's there, we Cy and Jill had to come down and put the water line back together because somebody might have cut it off.
Because somebody didn't know it was there?
So wait,
Yeah.
so past this, where is the water coming from? Is it coming from this line?
Beyond that, yes.
Yeah.
Beyond the Lord's
They're
Prayer.
back feeding it from the old,
Backfeed.
the old
Okay.
back, the old,
Orange line that comes
from
down.
Briggs Hill.
So there is-
From Lincoln.
So there is a line along here. That's
There's
right
no
there.
line
There's
there.
no line
There's
there.
no lines.
So
It
where
ends
does
at
this
Lord's
water
Prayer
come? I know, but where does this water come from? If this isn't on this system,
It is. It stops at the top of the hill and then individual lines.
That red line
Oh,
just goes
got it.
down too far. is
got
what
it.
I'm saying.
Okay, thank you.
So Rockydale right
There's like 3
now,
houses down there.
Rockydale right now is being supplied how?
From the
Back
old,
right here.
backfed from the reservoir, back through the old line that came from Briggs Hill. from
So there
Lincoln.
is a pipe already there.
Correct.
Okay,
It's only 4-inch.
okay,
right.
It's probably the oldest pipe in town because it's the original one.
It's the original.
all right.
So you definitely want to.
That
So
originally was,
sorry to interrupt, Steve. You're answering
Yeah,
the
go ahead,
question.
Steve.
no, sorry, I was a long way of answering. No, you guys are asking great questions. We haven't gone out. That's one of the next tasks actually, is to go out and do detailed location work. So to answer Peter's question, I just grabbed this off a different map, right? This is just so everybody can look at it and kind of get a sense of where.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that we want to determine is whether or not, as part of the Bristol lease design, we want to actually run 12-inch all the way out to somewhere before the Lord's Prayer Rock, right? If that's a possibility, then at least I can look at, when we bid this, what is the cost difference between 8-inch and 12-inch, and say to you folks, hey, look, it may be 50,000. I don't know what the difference is going to be right now, but it's probably $50 a foot, right? It may cost us an additional $50,000. Do you want to do that and have that opportunity down the road to have this alternative? Because this alternative is gonna be a heck of a lot less expensive than coming down that mountainside, no matter what we do. So, and we'll get into all that later on. I didn't want to get into that tonight, but I think I was just trying to explain one of the reasons we want to do this. One of the other reasons I think it's important to do this now, I think you guys are going to want to get this out of the way. I don't know if federal funding is going to survive some of what's coming. Federal funding is there today, and if I were in your shoes, I would want to get this out of the way when I believe I was going to get federal funding, no matter what.
So really, it's ultimately to give us more information to then determine how we're gonna handle
Correct.
Rocky Dale later on. Okay.
Yeah, and I've got a few other things that I want to look at up along the Main Street block as well. I mean, right now, there's 2 loops that are in there. There's a loop on each side of the street, if you will, and Peker probably can tell you as much as anybody about that. I sat and had a conversation with Alan Heising about it. Alan, both Alan and I have no idea why they put these loops in here, because hydraulically, I don't think it really adds anything to the system. The problem is, in the preliminary engineering report that GME submitted to the state, they essentially said, we're going to go in and replace all of the existing water lines with a 1-for-1 replacement, right? They didn't look at, it wasn't part of the scope of work to really go in and do a value engineering study at that point, right? So, replacing those 2 loops is a $500,000 endeavor. And Alan and I both said the same thing. This really doesn't add anything hydraulically today. The problem is it's in the PER, and we told the state, which they approved, that those loops specifically would be replaced. And what I would like to do as part of the study is be able to say to them, look, we've done a new hydraulic study. Adding those 2 loops does nothing hydraulically for the system. We'd like to submit an amendment to the PER and delete that from the scope of work. And like I said, it's a $500,000 difference. It's a big deal. So
Okay.
there's some of the reasons. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, you did.
Steve? Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
No, I'm moving on to my next question.
Okay, what about the quality of the line? I don't think it's that old. Peker can, probably the 70s Peker, I think, the main line coming down to E Street from the reservoir. And is that big enough to handle the growth that we expect this system to take on in the next 25 to 30 years or 50 years?
So that's a great question. We're going to look at that as part of the hydraulic analysis, right? Because there's actually 2 lines, and they're not shown on here. You're only seeing one. There's a parallel line that runs along just to the north of that existing one. You're right. That's the one that they replaced, Joel, back in the, I guess you're right, probably 80s, 90s. I thought we only showed the ones that
I was out of school.
Yeah.
Yeah. We only showed the ones that
60s.
we only showed the ones.
And I think it was early 80s.
Okay. Yeah, I believe it. I know there's another line there. It goes up Mountain Street and then it turns and goes up toward the reservoir.
Right down past the Inn's place.
Yeah, exactly.
Because one goes to E Street by Bingham's and one goes to.
The one that's
come
shown
down
there
across-
comes down through Bingham's.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's one that goes right down to Mountain Terrace that
Yeah.
looks on
That
Mountain Street.
Munson did that, because.
Right.
Probably Peter Nelson could tell us, he was foreman for that project.
We've got some pretty good as-built on that. That goes down Basin Street and back over to the pump house.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember that was done, yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay,
that
next
was never
question.
part of
Go
the
ahead.
proposal to replace that, right?
Okay, next question. On hydrant flow testing, the 11,000, you were talking about VTUM's doing the work. So is that 11,000 their estimated price for doing the work, or is that estimated based on another provider doing the work? And if they're doing the work, do we know what that cost will be, or is that, like, I'm just trying to figure out if VTUM's does the work, are we having more expense, or is this all part of that?
So in a nutshell, the state in their ultimate wisdom has come out with a new 10-page document on hydraulic modeling, okay? As part of that, they want to have they're requiring us to have hydraulic flow tests within the last 3 years. So essentially, we need to go out and redo the hydrant flow tests that were conducted, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, that were in the GME report. I talked to Jill a little bit about how long this would take to do. They've offered to do it on a time and materials basis, and they think they can do about 2 a day. And I said, okay, let's assume for now we need to do 10 or 12 of them, and we'll have a budget line item in here. And if, once we build the model, if, you know, we think we can calibrate it with 3 or 4 or 5, we'll be in good shape. It's just going to depend on how well the model calibrates to the field data. And I'm probably explaining more than I should, but
So I guess the question is that 11,000, does that include their time and materials?
That
That's what I'm
is
trying
their-
to figure out.
that is their time. That's
Okay,
100%
all
their time.
Okay,
Anything within the non-standard services, with the exception of the amendment to the PER, is all subcontracted services. Okay,
okay.
So what you're saying is, when you say 2 a day, they open the hydrants and test the flow. Is that the hydraulic test you're doing?
that's right. We're gonna run a flow test for 2 hours, Joel. That's part of it. And then we're gonna determine what number one, what the flow out of the hydrant is, but number 2, what the residual pressures are in the system, right? We want to make sure
Okay.
that system pressures don't drop too low. That's also part of the analysis.
Okay, and I think my last question is regarding the amendment to the PER. That $5,000, is that the permit amendment fee, or does that include your fees to do it and?
That's
whatever
just my
else?
time. That's my time to write an amendment to the state. And you know what? If I can get that done, it's like everything else, right? I'm like, okay, we have a budget. If I just work by the hour, and if it only takes me, 10 hours to get all this done and deal with the state, great. That's all.
No, I didn't know if the state required a $5,000 amendment fee.
No. It's just my time. And I just put a budget.
Okay.
in there.
Okay,
Yep.
that's all my questions.
Ian, you have any questions? Steve, or?
No, but I had a question about the loan, the BWSRF. Somebody asked me, is it possible to, before we enter into this, to get a guarantee that we're going to get the forgiveness? Like, why can't we do that? Why can't you talk to the
Because the
state?
state won't give it to us.
Why? Can't they look?
They
at our-
can,
Okay, great.
they won't.
But why? We're entering in,
Because
we're
they
entering into a multi-million-dollar project. They're offering this. They talk about the forgiveness. They talk about the cap or the level that you have to meet. Why can't we?
Why won't they guarantee it ahead of time?
Because they can see the size of our project. Like, I don't want to go through this
We
again.
need
The person
to-
I spoke to.
We need to apply for the loan first, and then they run their calculations based upon the information we provide in the loan at that time. They can't rely on last year's loan or 2 years ago because information has changed. We've changed our ERUs, but we're gonna stick with what they think.
Okay.
ERUs, but we have to submit the application first. Submitting the application does not commit us to taking the loan. So, but we need to submit the application first.
Okay, so if we submit the application and they have all the details of our project, can they not then tell us if we're gonna get forgiveness? And if they say you're not, can we adjust our project? Is that possible? I just feel that.
They're gonna leave that should or may in there,
No, I know.
Right, and they're
And-
always gonna,
and they're always gonna leave it in there. They're not gonna commit.
But I feel that there's gotta be something that we can hold them accountable for, because we're just totally out in
we're
the
at
wind
their
here.
mercy.
I know, but I don't think we should be. Why should we be at their
Because
mercy?
it's
We've
the
done
government.
everything right. We've got our project. We have it down to the absolute cent of what this project's gonna cost. Why can't they say, this is what you're gonna be getting? If
Jill
they're offering
mentioned
that
in
as part of the program.
Jill mentioned in the
Right.
chat that you will not be over the median household income numbers until the construction cost hits for Bristol West. She said the funding eligibility also changes each year. I agree. It should be pre-funded with forgiveness commitments.
Yeah,
It's
and I
like-
can tell you why a lot of times they don't, is because they don't want to commit themselves to the money that they're not sure they wouldn't not have, because they can always take it away.
It's like Pine Street. We were told,
And that was federal.
no, I
Yeah,
thought that was state.
no, that was federal.
No, that was West Street.
That was West Street
federal.
was federal.
right.
Yeah, she's.
Pine
Pine
Street
Street was the state.
You're
And
right.
we told us, oh, you guys will qualify for this. May,
Should.
may,
Yeah.
should.
It never said shall.
No, I guess you're right, Peter. And that was, so, but if, Steve, this is a question to you or Jill, or anybody chime in here, I don't know. I'll just throw it out there, see if it sticks to the wall, is if we have it engineered cost, can they commit like Ian says, can they commit, said, okay, you got 3.5 million in Bristol West. Then we're gonna give you 1.5 million.
Yeah.
In
And
other
then if
words,
it
can
comes
they
into 4
forecast it?
million, no, we were always told we were gonna give you 1.5 million. It came into 4
Yeah.
million, you gotta find the other 0.5 million. That's why I guess when the bids came in and they opened up, well, it came in at 4, so will you up yours by 50%? No, we told you 1.5 million. I guess that's why I'm going with Ian. Can't they commit at least to the engineering numbers
Yes.
to a number? No, Steve?
No,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So Valerie's gonna submit the step 2, the engineering application, right? The loan application.
Yeah.
Next month, Valerie?
Yeah,
The select
next
board- I know the select board hasn't seen it yet, but it's coming quickly. I mean, we went over this last week in our monthly water meeting. So it'll be coming at you folks shortly. And realize there's 2 different application processes here. One is for the construction, for the engineering services upfront, right? Which Valerie's going to submit hopefully on your behalf next month. Assuming that they approve it, you guys are guaranteed that loan, okay? The forgiveness amount on that loan will still be questionable, right? And they're not going to tell you that until you get to construction. I think your bigger concern right now from listening to this discussion is about the construction end, because that's where the real money is.
Right.
And
Yes.
honestly,
That's,
so many things have changed the state, and it continues to change. And I think, and Jill and Valerie, if you think I'm speaking out of school, please jump in here. But based on what we went through the last time, I think we probably are all going to have some collective conversation with the state before you folks absolutely commit to the construction side of this and say, okay, based on everything we have today, you guys have made a commitment to us for a loan of, let's just say it's $4 million for conversation. Can you please tell us, assuming we follow all the rules and meet all the requirements, do you believe we're going to get this loan and the loan forgiveness or not? Tell us up front. And I think they will tell you the money's either
that's
there.
essentially what I'm asking about.
The money's either
And
there.
they'll say, yeah, you should.
No, I know. But so Jill, you
may.
spent, right, you may,
I
yeah.
think it
So
was,
Jill, you said we're not gonna be over the numbers until construction costs for West, which we knew, or we thought we would get it for the first phase, but obviously we fell short. Now that we're entering into a $4 million loan, we're gonna hit that. But yeah, just as you said, Steve, like that's the conversation that I want us to have, to just see what if anything they can say to us before we start doing this, because then that allows us, if they say like, you're guaranteed this, at least we can start figuring out what our costs might be down the road to our district users.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we finally have the spreadsheet that they use,
Right.
put the numbers together. So I was amazed at how they calculate the loan forgiveness, which is what they call the grant, that they make you jump over such a gigantic hurdle of cost before they'll even give you a penny of grant money. So I think our number was like, I just off the top of my head, like $651 per equivalent residential unit. And our ERU number at the state right now is $695. So we can kind of understand if we look at our current year's budget, all of it. So that budget is going to include O&M, it's going to include debt service, etc. All of those numbers that happen to be in 3 different spots. And then we put what the new potential payment would be. And when we finally take the sum of those numbers and divide it by 695, as long as we're over 651, or we could even call it 680, because maybe by the time we do the project, the MHI number will go up. Then under their current rules and the way that they're currently written, we would get whatever the grant eligibility is in that year's program. So we'd have to get that year's program each time.
So, but it does seem like using their formula, we can calculate what our forgiveness should be, right?
No, because
Generally.
they can still change your forgiveness.
that's right.
It's up to 50%.
It's up to 50%, and they could extend the loan up to 40 years instead of just 30. So there were 4 or 5 layers that they went through. So the first layer was, is can you have a loan? The second layer is, do you have to pay the 2% fee which is an interest rate. And, you know, and so on and so forth. So there's the term, there's the interest rate, and there's the forgiveness. So and there within that, there's a couple layers. So we want like maximum forgiveness with the lowest interest rate absolutely possible and the longest term to pay it is what we're aiming for. So I think we should be able to plug our numbers in. And I don't see why we can't continue to ask them, here's the formula sheet that Amy gave us in 2024.
Yep.
What is it now?
These
When
are
we get to
Right.
2025, what is it now?
I agree.
Right. I mean, because it's like, what's the point of them even saying there's forgiveness if there's no way for them to guarantee or have any
Because it makes,
recourse?
it makes you do the project, you
I know.
satisfy the clean water drinking rules, and everybody's happy.
I know, but
except for
except
your
us.
It
rate.
just pisses me off. It's just
Yeah,
like,
I know.
why even say there's forgiveness? Tell us there's no forgiveness and then surprise us at the end of the project instead of saying there is forgiveness.
And
And
then,
then, yeah, exactly.
And I think
I know.
the other thing is that there should continue to be through Frida and through, it can't be Valerie now into the future years, but whomever else is working at the administrative level at the town to keep looking at what other grants are out there that we could pair with the drinking water SRF program, because if there's anything else out there that we could pair with it without having to jump through more hoops on special things, it would be lovely.
Well, there
Yes,
actually,
Yeah.
there actually are. There's the Northern Border Regional Commission, and that's the group where we got $500,000 for the Stony Hill Business Park. But they requires a 50% match. A lot of other communities have been funded through that program for much more than that amount of money, over $1 million that I've seen. And also there are the congressional, what I'm accustomed to calling them as earmarks. And the
Right.
Senate and the House both offer them. But it's a rigorous process to apply for them. And so you really need to have all your data and be shovel ready and to be competitive. But those are available and I believe they can be paired with the loan money.
Okay. No, I know that we're all doing our due diligence, but I feel like because we're starting this again, I mean, we were all so gung-ho and so happy for that first phase. And then being handed that news, obviously, to everyone, we were all greatly disappointed. And I'm just trying to think like, how do we not let that happen again? And maybe it's like we're all just calling and banging on the door constantly as we sort of move on this project at any opportunity we have to see what kind of things we can do. So thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Valerie, you had your hands up.
I would add that what I just described to those 2.5 funding sources, because the earmarks are kind of the same, but just different sides of the same coin, but different. They can be added together, I think. But the narrative is compelling. And the narrative, I think, will, if we describe that history and describe these impacts and the financial impacts and the community need and all of those things, I think we have a great narrative to be competitive.
well, we want to get
For
the
what
state
that's worth.
forgiveness first, because then we won't have enough debt if we get that. And they'll turn around and tell us
Right.
we're not eligible.
You got 2 other grants. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually,
Well,
you're right,
actually-
you're right.
Actually,
Go ahead, Jill.
the grants would be helpful after we get the forgiveness to show the still remaining level of debt is still a burden to this small water system. So even with a 50% forgiveness, I would argue, without seeing the actual numbers, that it may still be worthwhile to apply for those grants. In
Yeah,
addition,
what I'm saying is we don't want to apply and get them first and reduce our debt, and then and then the state will turn around and say, well, you got this other money, you don't need ours.
right,
Right.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Recommend
Jill, you
going
had a
to
question?
program.
You had a comment? Jill, I saw your name pop up.
Oh,
Do you have a
no,
comment?
I'm done getting kicked in the guts, just like you guys. So I think we should have our multi-layered plan to apply within the drinking water SRF program, and then be ready to fortify with other grant funds after they give us their final commitments, so that we can reduce the overall burden, because we still have 2 more layers to go.
Right.
Your Bristol West.
Yeah. And even if we got the highest forgiveness, it's still a huge burden. It's not like our prices are going to stay as they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thank you both.
entertain a motion to consider
Make a motion to approve the changes or the updates.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any comments? The only thing I'd like to comment is to thank the voters 2 weeks ago tomorrow for voting almost 4-1 they see the need. And they know it was a good price tag, and as Ian says, we're gonna try to get that price tag down a lot, but, you know, they saw it, and I was shocked to saw what it was, almost 4-1, passing that bond. And I wanna thank the voters for that.
That's
Yeah.
another talking point for a competitive grant application.
So,
Yeah, I posted on Front Porch Forum. I thank people for
good, thank you.
positive votes for both that and the updated development regulations. So,
UDR,
yeah.
So, okay, there's a
Who
motion and a
seconded that?
second.
Who seconded that?
Peter did.
Oh, thank you.
Any more comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, okay.
Thank you,
Number
everyone.
5. Thank you,
Thank
Steve.
you,
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jill.
Steve.
You're not
Thank you,
done.
Jill.
They'll be back.
Water Commissioner, consider water connection request on Devon Lane for Stan Livingston. Yes.
Okay, so all I'm only gonna ask is, does Stan not know what his wastewater permit says?
What do you mean?
Cause he put 3/4 inch water connection, not a 1 inch. State permit requires a 1 inch connection.
He's dumb as a fox, Michelle. We went over it in the field. I had a copy of his permit from Kevin and I said, oh, a 1 inch service. So you're gonna wanna make sure you apply for a 1 inch tap because that's what your permit says. And he goes, yeah. And then we get it in
No,
writing. I was like, no, the permit's 1 inch.
Actually, I sat down with him tonight and looked at his plans and he was, I questioned why it was 1 inch. Cause everything else is 3/4,
Mhm.
but it's 1 inch because that's what he asked, what was asked for in the permit.
Right.
That was before, I believe
I'm
that was
asking,
before he
Jill.
owned, I believe that was before he owned it. I think that the Butlers owned the 2 properties and they did the subdivision and they did the request for a 1 inch service on their state permit. I don't think you need a 1 inch service on a regular house, but that's what the permit
Well,
says.
that's what I said when I looked at it. I didn't think you needed 1 inch, but,
Yeah, but
and I'm curious as to whether it was, you know, just a clerical error in the fact that most of what is done by his surveyor is done out in the rural areas where all the water lines from a well are 1 inch.
Oh, maybe because I noticed that the one on 92 North Street is also a 1 inch and that's an awful lot of water for a single story home.
Yeah.
But so be it. I
Is
mean,
practical for him to try to get an administrative amendment on his wastewater permit to a 3/4 inch?
you'd have to pay Kevin to do that for him.
you'd have to pay an amendment fee.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, it's not
Short run.
he's not opposed to using the 1 inch. I just figured it was way more. I said, that's way more water than you need with that kind of pressure.
Yeah,
And
that's what it
so-
says. He has to put it in because that's what
But
he's.
if that's what his permit says, that's what he'll put in.
I know, I thought it was an over design on the permit, but it's not my call.
Yeah, if you look at the design on the permit, there's no size on the water line. It's in the notes way up above.
No, it's not.
It's called
On
out.
the, on the.
1
in
inch
the-
take copper.
In the pictures. I don't read the words, I look at the pictures.
I was gonna say, it's called out on the design and then it's called out again in the, very much so in the paragraph form. in the permit.
In
The narrative of the permit, yeah.
Proposed 1 inch type.
Right,
take
but
up.
go further up,
Up,
the other way, the other up,
no, that's down, that's down.
Okay,
over there,
so this doesn't say
right
on
there.
our,
See, there's
what we're
nothing
voting
there.
on tonight doesn't say 1 inch or 3/4, just says we're giving him a water connection. So. I'm
Say that
gonna
again?
entertain a motion for,
No, it says
No,
1
it
inch.
says,
The conditions.
It's the condition.
I'm reading what's here.
Yeah, but I mean, you're looking at, I'm
I'm
looking at
looking
the
at
He's
town.
looking
the
at
agenda.
the permit.
Oh,
I'm looking
right.
at that in the permit.
I think if we specify 1 inch, that way it's 1 inch, even though it's, you know,
Somebody wanna make a motion?
I
there?
make a motion to approve the permit with the conditions listed in, Val's TA report.
Okay,
There's a bunch of conditions.
yeah, I saw it here, yeah, 1 inch curb and all that, yeah. Is there a second to that? Second, any more questions?
wait, so on the new connection form, it says 3/4 inch.
Yeah, he needs
Right,
to.
but his state permit
Yeah, but
his state permit is gonna trump
trump
the,
the
Okay,
application. Yeah, he just made a mistake. He
Okay.
thought it was 3/4 inch.
Okay.
well, that's what all health services are.
okay, got it, all right.
Yeah.
And also at the bottom of the permit form, the office section will, in the comments, will note that, see the approved conditions, including the 1 inch difference.
Got it.
Yeah, for every 1 inch you increase in your water line diameter, you get 4 times as much water. So a 1 inch water line versus the 3/4 produces twice as much water flow. So they're gonna have a ton of water.
Nobody will complain
Yeah,
about
what-
that when you turn the shower on and then you turn
You'll
the
have to
washing
have
machine,
reducer.
it's gonna get,
Pressure reducer for sure.
right.
I know.
All right, there's a
I'm
motion and a
probably.
second. There's a motion and a second. Any more comments?
I just
On
want to
the-
clarify with Jill. Jill, were you okay with the conditions outlined in the report?
Jill, did you hear that?
Hang on, there you go.
I didn't reread since the email that we had, but as long as it was everything in the email plus those additional 2 or 3 markups, then that's perfect.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, great. Thank you.
What do you mean you hope?
Okay, all those in favor then of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, okay. Number 6, Water Commission review and consider adoption of the substantial revised revision to the Bristol Water Use Ordinance. She's got 60 minutes here. I'm gonna try to cut this down a little bit.
It might take only
Well,
5.
So.
We haven't seen it yet, so.
Oh, this is. the
Right,
one
well, so
with Kevin's input too,
So
right?
my question about this, because we haven't seen it, is it useful for us? Are you just gonna do like an overview?
Brief over your.
Because
Correct.
I think we should read through it and have our own notes before
Yep.
discussing this.
You got more than one.
No, this is
I'm
all
fine
one.
with that.
36.
I would do
pages.
that,
36.
because I think it's more
I printed it
beneficial
out.
for us to be able to look at it, look at the changes. I only briefly looked at it this afternoon.
And then
I
look
just
at it
think-
all.
Right, exactly. So if we haven't seen it, I think we need to all look at it, have our comments, and come back. And I think we can do, I think the most beneficial would just be a sort of a brief overview of the changes, if you're able to do that.
Like the biggest changes, because there's a lot of changes.
Right.
Yeah, I
There's a lot
I
going
read through a
on.
bunch of it and
I just printed it out. I haven't had a chance to peek at it. I did peek at Kevin's
Now
letter.
that you've got all this time,
no,
Well, I did peek at this letter and I discussed, I called Jill this afternoon late, around 5:30. Is paragraph 4, if the owner or user fails to provide the town, its agent or the operator with access to the property or the building after receiving the second written notice, the town will impose a deny of access surcharge on the property after the next quarterly water billing issue. And then another one after that, they don't let that in. I guess the question I asked Jill was, how many times we keep getting denied to go in to see if a meter's leaking or a bad meter? Said, no, you're not coming in because you're only charging me the minimum. How many times do we let that happen when we say, okay, we're going outside with a wrench and turn the water off? And that's the question I have for Kevin, because Jill says, if they keep paying their bill, I don't think you can shut their water off.
Yeah, I just said it. Kevin would need to read the Vermont statutes annotated and just make sure that it meets within the legality of being allowed to shut their water. That's all.
Right.
You're talking about.
right, and so I think that's why it's
Wait, so-
beneficial, like,
This right here.
for us to all look at it.
Yeah, I got
And,
it.
because I know Jill's gonna have a bunch of stuff, and we all are, but to have that come with a nice thick binder of all your suggestions and comments, and then we can go through. And then I just think it's gonna make more sense.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know if Jill, Steve, or Val, if you wanna just do a brief overview, if you can. Is that possible, Val, do you think?
Well, the only way I can imagine of doing that is just to scroll through the content so that folks get a visual sense of the breadth of what we're
Yeah.
suggesting, and just to see, and also some of the changes in the appendices, like the addition of the construction details. And so I just, that was my thinking, was just do a quick visual flow so you can see the kinds of things.
Okay.
So I am prepared to share my screen. to put you through that exercise. Are you
Yeah, and
able?
just so that you know, like Valerie, Steve, myself, and Kevin Brown, I think we had at least 3 or 4 work sessions that were anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours long working on this. And Valerie has had a lot more behind the scenes. So there's a lot of work that's gone into this. So I'm hopeful that you guys could see the direction that it's going in to clarify a lot of the things that are muddy right now, and to make it a very useful document to point to instead of having to keep writing gigantic letters.
Are
Yeah,
folks, can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay, and I appreciate Jill saying that, because it really, it really was a very time intensive process, and one, as I mentioned previously, one that we hadn't planned on. It was really precipitated by the multiple water connection applications or proposals that we received that were beyond what we had experienced previously, and the ordinance didn't address extensions of the water distribution mains outside of the right of way. So that really precipitated a lot of this. And so we tried to go through and clarify the kinds of questions that kept coming up in the review of these new situations, so that we were better prepared going forward. I don't know how many more of these are going to happen going forward, but the fact that we've already gone through 3 in just 1 year is pretty astonishing. And so anyway, that's where a lot of this comes from. And also, just related to that, again, the unplanned time that went into this, in addition to all the time that went into the capital improvement plan, if anyone wonders why other things didn't get done, these 2 things were a big reason why. So just quickly scrolling through, we went through a lot of the definitions and tried to clarify different definitions, eliminate some, consolidate some. And most of our notes are still in the margins, so you can kind of see the progression. And I did not bother trying to fool around with any of the formatting in Word, which is a nightmare. So
Yeah.
I didn't even bother. So you can overlook that. So it follows the same structure as the existing ordinance. It's not rearranged in any way, but it's got a lot of additions and deletions and perhaps some forms of consolidation. And Kevin Brown's comments are included in that section 2, and then down below in the prohibitions. So a lot of different procedures we tried to clarify. Let's see. Just a lot of content. Some sections weren't changed at all. And one question that's still kind of out there in the original, in the October 2025, or the 2015 version, we included an application process for repairs, even though an application form didn't exist. So I'm not sure how that still factors into this, if we're still intending to do an application process for repairs. Because this process, I think, also is intended to, or these amendments are also intended to include administrative procedures where staff, that some things can be approved administratively without having to come to the select board at all, or water commission. So it's just scrolling through without getting into any of the meat, but a lot of this relates to those extensions outside of the right of way and what kind of assurances the town will need before accepting these new water lines built by others to become part of the community water system. So this prohibition section is one area where Kevin added a bunch of text. I think that's where Joel was reading from. And then it just keeps on going, and keeps on going. And keeps
It's
going.
very long.
Yeah. And we added this graphic, which we hope will be helpful. I don't recall if there was one before, but this one, if there was, this is better. And I don't think we really went into fire hydrants and taking over private fire hydrants, but that is a conversation that should be had. And we didn't really go into sprinkler systems.
We don't have that many sprinkled buildings at the moment, but I would imagine we're gonna get more.
Well, with the business park.
Three right now, the school,
So,
the business park.
Bristol Works,
Bristol
Yeah.
Works, what
fire
about-
station, Stanley's apartment.
And what about firehouse apartments?
so
Okay.
we're at the end. So I propose replacing that little signature block with a little updated one. And then here we get into the appendices. So I updated the appendix B with the rates and charges, so that's current. And
So
then,
Val, that's a question I'm gonna have. If we don't prove this, does it mean Sharon says they're gonna be sending out the next
No, we
reading?
already approved
already
it, we already
That,
approved
the
the rates.
water part has been, the
Yeah.
price
yeah,
of
the
it has
appendix
been
B is
approved.
already approved.
Okay, yeah, okay.
The appendix is not the
Ordinance.
ordinance.
Okay, so this is the Word version. In the PDF version, I included the
The draft easement.
yeah, the construction details.
Mhm.
But not the draft easement. That hasn't been tackled yet. So that's about it. in a
Okay.
nutshell. So it is kind of clunky, but hopefully it makes some sense as you read through it.
So I think, so what makes the most sense in terms of, obviously, it's gonna be ongoing discussions with the town administrator, Jill, Steve, and Kevin. And so is it just easier for us to make our comments succinctly as we look through it and then send those along? And then those, at your next meeting, look at those, incorporate those in if necessary, and then continue the discussions?
What do you think, Jill and Steve?
Is there a tool where everybody could be making their comments all within the same copy? Or would
Well,
you guys?
the live link.
No. The live link doesn't work because then we don't have the ability to log in as us with our names. It's just, it would be random, anonymous kind of things.
Even better.
It's, it's possible maybe like with Google Docs, because we all have Gmail accounts now that are specific to the select board. So we could do it that way, but that would require moving to that format, which we could look at if we wanted to. I want to propose that maybe moving forward, just to make it easier for collaboration, because I find we're doing this a lot and it is difficult for us to comment on stuff. I would like an easier way to do that isn't messy. I mean, it's messy already just with a few people in the same room commenting, let alone five more people doing that. But we could look at the commenting, or it would just figure out a way of formatting where if we're emailing it, we would just call out sections that we had concerns or comments about, and then so you're able to reference them and match them in the document.
That's how addendums are written, is you keep referring to the original document and you just say your
Right.
paragraph, your letter, your number, your page number. That might be best if you just put together their specific.
Yeah, since we don't have a perfect collaborative system yet.
I wonder if it also makes any sense to plan on looking at just certain sections and just focus on those things in bite-sized pieces so that we can get through it and move on to the next section. Like definitions, focus on definitions, get all the comments on definitions, and then we talk about definitions, and then go on to the next section, whatever that is, and focus on that and kind of clean those up. I don't know.
Val, do you have a deadline in your mind for this when it?
Well, we've been working on this since early summer, so we had hoped to get this done long before now. So no, I guess as soon as humanly possible.
Okay.
So that we're ready when the next proposals come in. Yeah.
Okay.
And Valerie.
Right, so I would say,
Sorry.
Steve.
I was just gonna say, Valerie, I think from my perspective, and I don't know where you and Jill are, I kind of felt like, short of outside comments from the public and from the select board, our side of it, we thought was pretty well done. I mean, they may come back and ask us about this, or we've got concerns about this, we like it worded differently, or crossed out or deleted, or go back to the original language or whatever, but am I wrong?
No, that's a good point. Yeah, I think we've already done that work, and now it's the review and sifting through.
All right, so board members okay with making a
I'm
list of
gonna read it
comments?
all. I've got some questions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would just, if we're unable to sort of comment directly on it, then we would just call out the section.
Right.
And page and stuff, is make it as clear as possible. Because it's a lot, it's a lengthy document.
Although once we
there's
get
any-
rid of
and if
all of
there's any
the
public comment.
deletions, it'll be shortened up by a page or two.
Right, that's true. And if there's obviously any public comment, the public are encouraged to submit, to look at the document and submit questions or comments or suggestions, and we will always take those into consideration.
So what do you suggest for next steps then? And timeline? December 2nd is already kind of filling up, but
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
Well, given that
Depending on the bite size you want to tackle.
Right, I think, to me, it seems like the board maybe has 2 weeks to make comments, and then it would go back to another discussion with you, with the 4, to incorporate those in if you feel necessary, and then present again maybe in a month's time.
Another option, yeah, sure. Another option is to have a special meeting on December 9th, which is a Monday, and focus only on this.
That's what I was gonna say.
I was actually gonna recommend that we meet on December's meetings be the 9th and 16th and not be on the 23rd, a couple of days before Christmas. And
No,
you'll be
it's-
gone, Valerie.
No,
The current December schedule is December 2nd, the 16th, and the 30th.
I can't do the 30th, so I'm gonna be out of town, so.
That was actually an iffy one anyway. It's kind of
Why
like.
3 then? Why 3, budget work?
Yeah,
Decide whether we need to do Mondays, every Monday in January at that point. See where
Yeah.
we're at.
Yeah, I can't do the 30th, so I'm sorry, but.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. I guess I'd rather do a special meeting than be here until 11 o'clock at night trying to go through this.
Yeah.
It'd be easier if we could just focus on
On
it,
this.
not have to worry about other stuff on
Right.
the agenda. We have
Right.
to do.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so we're talking the 9th at 6:30.
Want to do earlier?
I can do 6.
Figure?
Sorry about
I
me.
know we're not in the pit then, so. I feel-
No, it's kind of dark.
Yeah.
Do we want
6
Kevin?
PM.
Do you want Kevin on board?
Does he need to be?
Or
Well, if
maybe later when we have
do
specific
think we're gonna
questions?
wrap this up that night?
Wouldn't that be amazing?
If we think we're gonna wrap it up, then I think he should be here to comment. If we don't think we're gonna wrap it up,
Well,
then we probably don't need him.
okay, we have 2 weeks to go through this. Can we all read it and review it and comment on it in 2 weeks?
Think so.
Then are we optimistic that we can finalize it that night?
Yeah, but I don't want to go through the whole thing that night. I mean, I don't want to go through line by line. I want us to all know what things
Where,
that
what
we have.
bothers us. and
Yeah,
what-
exactly. And we hit those, just like Val suggested. We hit those sections and then we wrap it. I don't think it's a time for us. We should all know it by then, I think.
I think too, when more eyes are on the document and looking at it for the first time and going through the whole thing, and I recommend starting from top to bottom first, just to get a sense of all what's in there, because you might catch redundancies, you might catch inconsistencies that we didn't know because we were too close to it. And so you might see things that we missed. And I think that would be a really helpful part of the review.
Which what I think what the group is saying that
I
if
don't
we
know.
all read it in 2 weeks and have all of your little yellow or red notes on it, then we've read everything. I hope we'll pick up the
Yeah.
things.
Right.
And I was just gonna answer your quick question about your question on Kevin's comments. He would have already checked that to make sure that that was legal and according to the statutes before he would have ever put it in here.
So I think when we talk about his comment there, is then we set that fee second, third, fourth
Right.
time significantly. If you aren't gonna let us come in, check your meter, we just your meter
Gotta
doesn't
make it
work.
hurt.
Gotta make it hurt.
Well, so for something like that, we really need, if you have that question and we don't know legally whether we can do that or not, that means we wouldn't be able to approve it that night if we're discussing. it. We
No,
would-
that's what I was just saying. Kevin would have already gone through the statutes and
Okay,
make sure it was legal. to put
Okay,
in
so-
there. We
so-
I'm
don't-
not sure you
when
can
is-
shut them off and say, no, I keep paying my bill.
right, so when is he looking at that? That's what I'm asking. So if we have that meeting on the 9th, that means that we need to get our comments in like by the 2nd. Does that make sense? So we have 2 weeks to do the comments, to read
Yeah.
through it. Those are submitted to Val, and whether Jill and Steve and Kevin all look at those comments. Hopefully it's a short list from each of us, and maybe there's redundant stuff.
I've got about 5 already.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be redundancy.
Right, so there's a bunch of stuff in there. I think the 4 who have been working on this, look at it. And then any questions that are had, especially
Yep.
legal wise, those are answered by the time we get to the 9th meeting.
Yep.
Does that sound
And,
reasonable?
and some of it may just be, we need an explanation. They
Right,
may
right.
have an explanation for why they, if we
Exactly.
question something, why they did it the way they did
Yeah.
it.
So the hope is that the explanation on the 9th, the questions can be answered, whether legal or not, and then we can go through it.
And then one of the ones I have, just throw it out here, page 7, last thing, 4.4. The water commissioners may accept or approve an application from persons who are not property owners. Was that always in there? I don't know.
Is it underlined?
No. but-
Then
and
it's always been in
approved-
there.
But approved is underlined. May accept application was,
Oh,
and approved now was added.
I see. So
You
that
said
the
page
concept
7?
was already there.
Page 7, the bottom, the last one, page 7.
Yeah, accepting an application doesn't mean you have to do anything with it. You can put it in the trash can. You accepted it. So I think they're trying to clarify that, no, what we really mean is take action.
Yeah, okay. So Val, does that sound reasonable in terms of December 2nd? By December 2nd?
That would be great.
Okay, and that
Yeah.
at least gives you a week. Hopefully you can have a meeting, even if it's Zoom, chat with the 4 and then have answers. And then you're right, I think we could, if we have it that way, it seems like on the 9th, we'd be able to actually just sort of work through it fairly quickly and then approve a version that we all like.
And if we run out of time on the 9th, then conceivably it could be wrapped up more quickly on the 16th. Efficiently on the 16th.
Right. Plus, we get more time with you before you leave, so that's good.
Hey.
Okay, done.
Okay. I'll read this over and better. Okay.
Are you playing Jessica tonight?
I just didn't want to
Boy, she's
relay
in
the
for a
whole
rude
discussion.
awakening. We get into budget.
She said she likes budgets.
That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, she does.
She likes
Alright.
numbers.
So we're gonna put that off, no vote tonight. We'll come back with all your questions. Okay, review of the meeting minutes. Valerie sent out October
Yeah, I
21st.
haven't
Just
looked at them.
wanna hold those then?
Yeah.
Unless somebody else has looked
I
at them.
haven't looked at 'em. I was sitting on the couch at 5:45 and watching a little bit of the news when she sent, I got the email. Authorized accounts payable warrants and their liquor or tobacco licenses.
Amount 498, 127.69 is the warrant.
Okay,
And we do have a liquor license.
Yes.
It's a 3rd class for Nordic,
Okay.
Nordic Chef, which is Tandem. And it's for 6 months.
only 6 months.
Well, the 3rd class it's very expensive for a year, so the 2 that have 3rd class only do 6 months at a time.
Okay. Okay.
Couldn't hear what that was
We need
for.
a motion for the liquor license.
Say that again, Val?
Yeah, go ahead,
Couldn't hear
Val.
what that was for.
That was for the liquor license.
For who?
Tandem, down on
That's
the,
not the one it was.
for
Tandem.
tandem.
That's the one.
Tandem, yeah.
Do you need a motion for that, just so that?
You
Yeah.
need to approve because it's a regular liquor license and you've been making.
Is there a motion, Michelle?
Sure.
I make a motion.
Yeah, I'll have to send this.
And
That was
we
fine.
all have to
is there a
sign?
second? Ian makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, so wait a minute.
Opposed?
This is part of the
Okay.
consent agenda we all have to sign. That was the Seth Works.
Oh. Okay.
You don't have to sign the license, right?
Select
No, I
board,
just put in there.
select board roundtable.
Wait, who did anyone approve the minutes?
No, we
we're
didn't.
not gonna-
We're gonna hold the minutes. Select board roundtable, let's start with you, Ian.
Let me see. I've been working on we heard about the MERP grant, which we got, but it wasn't all that we hoped for, so we're gonna have a meeting about that. Library hasn't really had any motion yet for that grant. And I did hear about the electric vehicle charging, and Bristol did get it. Took a lot of months, but I emailed Zach at GMP and he confirmed. And so it's a private project, but obviously it benefits the town greatly. So Norwich EV, they'll be working on it. So I'll just be in touch with them just to see how that goes. So that's very positive for the town. I don't know when that would be installed. It's probably a ways off, but that was for the level 3 charging. The branch of the state.
Okay, good.
So that's very exciting.
Anything else?
No, that's all for me.
Michelle?
No, nothing of good, other than I thought the North Street traffic study was rather interesting.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
That was part of her other stuff, but
Oh, I
basically
thought-
said we weren't, you know, they weren't,
Speeding?
no, they weren't speeding,
And
and
number of
that
trucks.
the number of trucks wasn't excessive.
And Mike
So-
Winslow said he will be available on the 16th to meet with the select board to review the results.
Okay.
Okay.
That adds to the 2020 data that
Right.
the regional planning did as well, which is nice.
Anything else, Michelle?
No.
Peter?
John Blank.
John Blank, well, we come back. I got a email today. Thank you, Ian, for these new email.
Oh, good, they are working.
Our
As
new
long as I remember the
Fort
log.
Town Representative Herb Olson emailed me. He said, "Hi, Joel, I'm wondering if the Bristol Select Board would be interested in talking with me, however, briefly, before the beginning of the legislative session. I'm trying to touch base with the select boards in all 4 towns in the community. My hope was to listen to whether there are any particular wants or needs on your mind and to think about a way to keep in touch. If you
Gives
schedule some visits."
50% forgiveness.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, I didn't bring it up
Down
until
here.
that.
Happy to chat.
So,
Absolutely.
and then I said, what did I say to him? I said,
No.
I don't know. I said, congratulations for winning. Thanks for dropping me an email and congrats on your win. We have a meeting tonight and I'll ask the board to give me some feedback on what we want to talk with you about and when, and I'll have Valerie pencil you in for next Monday, November 25th, or are we not meeting next Monday, the 25th? Okay,
No.
sorry.
December
I looked at her
2nd.
calendar to be here. I'll be good. I'll tell her to come early.
December
Wait for
2nd.
some soup. The soup will be, no soup for you.
No super.
And, or Monday, December 9th, but I could get him the 2nd. You said that's
Second.
filling up.
That's the next one.
You,
I mean, he'll be brief, so I think that'll be fine.
We can put him in the pending file or pending list. If there's room, we'll know next week or so.
okay, so either, I'll email him back tomorrow, either December 2nd or the 9th, save a date,
Or-
and Valerie will be,
Not the 9th, the
16th.
16th.
sorry,
Or
16th.
the 16th.
Okay. The 2nd or the 16th, so he would like to come, so,
Excellent.
all right.
Let's make a list for him.
And then the December schedule, I just said I can't make the 30th.
Yeah.
And then Valerie, are you going by Zoom, go attend the Addison County Solid Waste meeting Thursday night or no?
I'm planning on it, yeah.
Okay, my wife says she's taking me to supper because it's my birthday, so I may or may not be there. If I am, it's gonna be by Zoom. So, okay?
I would
At-
suggest
at
you
the
go
restaurant.
enjoy your birthday
Yeah,
dinner, not
exactly.
worry about it.
Yeah,
I think.
Girl
Is there
said,
Can we
"Dad, you're
vote,
gonna
can
be
we
home
vote for
Thursday
Joel to
night,
enjoy
right?"
his birthday?
Enjoy, yeah, so.
because you're gonna be on the hook for the next ones for a while. One
Yeah.
of these things
Well,
coming
I
up.
haven't been in many months,
Right.
I haven't been attending, so, okay, that's all I had. Yeah, and town administrators report.
Related to that, one of the upcoming agenda items in December will be for the select board to make new appointments for the boards that I've been on, like the Addison County Economic Development Corp. And the Solid Waste District to identify what other municipal or Bristol representative you'd like there as alternates, or for the Solid Waste District, I'm an alternate. For the Economic Development Corp, I'm Bristol's rep. So you might want
You've
to,
been filling in for me, and I thank you for that, for the solid waste, because they're just slacker. Yeah, I have been, in the summer month, in the spring, they're umpiring and other things, so, yeah. Anything else for the town administrator's report, Bob?
We received 2 more, well, the same ones that I mentioned in my report. I think they're the same ones I mentioned in my report. I don't think, well, we might have received another application today. To be honest, it's been a marathon today and I haven't had a chance to open any of those applications yet. So we have at least 2, maybe 3 Vermont candidates for the town
Oh, for the
administrator job.
administrator.
Town administrator.
Town
job, okay.
administrator, applications for town administrator. Oh, okay.
Boy, and they really don't wanna see you there.
Anything else?
That's all I can think of for now.
Okay, other business correspondence reports or correspondence received?
In my report, I tried to highlight some of the ones that were notable and Michelle caught the one about the traffic study. And that Mike Winslow is available on the 16th to fill us in more about that.
I like the archaeology stuff too. Are they saying, when I read that, I was like, are they saying we don't have to do it for the east
That's a good question.
phase either or not?
I don't know. I think
Okay.
That'd be a Steve question.
yeah.
Okay,
I thought you were gonna ask that when you asked about the environmental.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
Well, I
Okay.
knew we were good for this one, so.
Anything else for the good of the order? We had
That-
executive session or no, it's just there? Placeholder.
We do.
Ian had requested it.
Okay. Okay. Any other correspondence, Valerie, before we go into executive session? Michelle reads her.
Okay, I make a
Okay.
motion, we enter executive session per 1 VSA, section 313A1. A1, and whatever it is. A1F3 personnel matters, right?
Correct.
Personnel, okay. Somebody second.
Second.
Wait a minute, make sure.
I actually.
Is the motion, is there a second? All
Yes, we
those in
got it.
favor, please say aye.
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 Benjamin, thank you.
You, I can't make it bigger.